Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Day one of the British Swimming Championships 2023. My name's John Mason. I am super excited to be back here at Ponds Forge hosting for this entire week. Joining me throughout the week is going to be Andy Jameson and Amy Wilmot on the stream. And of course, if you're here in venue, we've got John and Hamish. It's going to be a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Battling it out in this pool behind me, some of the best in the business, fighting for that title of British champion. But of course, not just that, these athletes are going to be looking to put in amazing performances in front of the selectors. We have a lot of events coming up over the summer and throughout the rest of 2023. So it's going to be a good week of racing. I've been watching some of the warm-ups this morning. I think we're in for a big treat of some fast swimming. If you're watching at home or in the venue, of course, we love to hear from you guys. So join us on social media. The hashtag for the entire event is hashtag BSC23. So whether you're taking your selfies, taking your videos, you're watching at home, you're cheering for a team, it doesn't matter. Just join us there and use that hashtag across all platforms. And of course, don't forget to tag British Swimming. But it's not just the swimming happening here. Of course, we have the World Para Swimming Championships coming up in Manchester. So we've got a little something for you guys to take a look at. So let's check it out. Well, they have loads to look forward to in 2023 here at British Swimming. But it all starts right here, day one of heats. So if you're in the venue, it's over to John and Hamish. And if you're at home on the stream, here's Andy and Amy. We'll see you in a bit.
Thank you, John. Really looking forward to this morning's heats. It's the first set of heats in this British Championships for 2023. 6 events this morning, 3 women's and 3 men's events. And we'll be opening up with Imogen Clark, the British record holder on the women's 50 metres breaststroke, and then straight into the men's 50 metres backstroke, which I think will be wide open and particularly good for the warm-up for that men's 100 metres backstroke. So important, that one. I'm joined by Amy Wilmot, 3 times Olympian, double Olympic finalist in the 400 medley. The 400 medley is later on this morning, but let me go straight to you, Amy, on this women's 200 metres freestyle, because with a new focus on that women's freestyle relays, that's a really exciting one.
Yeah, definitely. This morning we've got that women's 4x200 freestyle. We won't see Freya Colbert in that, even though she's one of our international swimmers in that event. She's opting to do the 400 individual medley a little bit later in the session, so it gives some other swimmers a chance to get up in that medal position.
Then, of course, we've got the men's 400 metres freestyle. I think that one's pretty wide open, pretty hard to call. It's going to be interesting to see how the heats go this morning. And then, of course, your event, Amy, that women's 400 medley. And are you looking forward to that one? Is it hard to sit in the stands and watch a 400 medley? Would you prefer to be swimming?
I don't think so. I know how tough that event is, and although I miss being in the pool, it's great to be here, and I kind of get to still enjoy the race.
Fantastic. And then the final heat this morning will be the men's 100 metres breaststroke, on which we've got our English Commonwealth champion James Wilby going. Of course, there is no Adam Peaty here. He's decided to just take a little bit of time out, just make sure that his mental health is okay. He's come out and been very brave, very open on that, so we wish him all the very best for the summer, and just see how that unfolds. But look after yourself, Adam, because we need you really next year. This year really doesn't matter. Just look after yourself, because next year is the big year for you. So, Amy, interesting 6 events to start with. Straight into the 50 metres breaststroke for women. They'll be on the blocks in a second. Imogen Clark will be in the final heat, heat 8.
Yeah, Imogen, our British record holder in that event. Won some of her international medals for the first time last year at the Europeans and the Commonwealth, so great chance for her this morning to make it back on some of those teams.
So the first swimmers are on the blocks and ready to go. And they generally will be swimming 6 heats in the morning, and then there's an afternoon session for the slower heats. So we've got heats 3 to 8 this morning, and heats 1 and 2 will be on an afternoon session for the slower swimmers. So 3 to 8 this morning. This is then for heat 3, the first heat that we'll be seeing. Emily McGee of Carnoustie in lane 4, Lauren Richards in 3 of Sheffield, and Wade in 5. So the first heat of the morning, the first heat of the British Swimming Championships for 2023, and a very good start up there in lane number 7 is Lucy Buckingham of Millfield School in the green hat, going very well. Also going well down at the bottom here in lane 0 is Ellen Bagley of Abingdon. With about 10 metres to go, it looks like it may well be Bagley of Abingdon. Swam really well on the outside here. Is she going to take it? That'd be quite something. Oh, a tight finish. I think she's got it, you know. Well, let's see. First was Ellen Bagley, 33.13. That's a full 0.6 of a second inside her lifetime best.
Yeah, great swim for her. As you say, she had a really good start. Got up into that swim there. Was really strong into the wall, which is exactly what you want in these 50-metre events. So, summary of results, it was Ellen Baggy finished first there. City of Salford's Gabriella McCulloch second, and Sophie Payne finished third in 33.67.
There it is, 33.1, 0.6 of a second inside a lifetime best. What a way to start the meet. McCulloch was second. So that's heat 3 of 8, heat 4 now. And Caitlin Hartley, the fastest seed from Hatfield in 4. Henley of Leamington Spa in 5, and 3 is Woodcock. Anna Woodcock of Pershaw. So top 16 on entries. 32.5, so if they're going to make the A or the B final, they're going to, I think, have to be looking somewhere around, maybe a little bit slower than that. 32.7, 32.8 might make it in, but we'll have to see. Great start at the top there. Constance Mortimer, 10 lanes used in the heats, and then only 8 lanes used for the final, as is international swimming rules. Now coming through in lane number 4 is Caitlin Hartley of Hatfield in the pink hat. Also in 3 is Hannah Woodcock. These two looking good. Is she going to get the touch? It does look like lane 4 got it, I think she did. 33.17, that's another 0.2 of a second lifetime best for Hartley in 4.
Yeah, equal to the heat before there, so really good swim. I suppose when you see the time from the heat before on the scoreboard and it's a lot quicker than your personal best or your season's best, you know you've got to step up. So already in the second heat here this morning, heat number 4, these girls are being really competitive.
33.17 again. So first 2 heats won in exactly the same time, and it's getting quick, very fast. This heat 5 of 8 coming up. And in lane number 4 in that yellow suit is Lucia Grant of Plymouth. So we have in lane number 9 Mount Kelly swimmer, 2 from Mount Kelly, 2 from Plymouth. Bit of a Devon County head-to-head here. Well, they held them quite a long time. They've got to be still on the block, so that's the right thing to do for the starter, but it did take them quite a long time, and nervy on the start of the 50 metres of anything. Decent start right in the centre in lane number 4. The 2 yellow lane lines donating lanes 4 and 5. The closest to us with that yellow suit is Lucia Grant of Plymouth. She's going well. 1 lane closer to us is Maya Hall of Stockton. And it looks like it might be in lane number 4, Grant of Plymouth. Oh, just faded inside that last 15 or so. Maya Hall got the touch. Second was Grant of Plymouth. And third, Jasmine DeCuna of Mount Kelly.
Yeah, it's always tough when you're not with that starting it, when there's a little bit of a delay. We saw lane 5 there, just get left behind a little bit, so it can be tough this morning, but the rest of the swimmers in that race swim really well, and yet again we've got some more fast swims. So there it is, Maya Hall, slightly slower than the heat before, 33.36. Lucia Grant there from Plymouth, just behind her, 33.65, and Jasmine from Mount Kelly, 33.76.
So first of the seeded heats, the fastest 30 swimmers in the last 3 heats, they're cycle seeded. So third fastest coming into the meet here is Katie Goodburn in lane 4 in this heat. The next heat will have the second fastest, and the final heat will have the fastest swimmer. So they do mix them up. So heat 6 of 8 of the women's 50 metres breaststroke. They're certainly rattling through this. And 32.0 is the 8th fastest seed. A very good start indeed from Katie Goodburn of Edinburgh. What a super start that is. Look at that. But if you stop the race there, she's won it by what, nearly 3/4 of a second or so. Really powerful breaststroke. The black hat and the black suit just starting to rev pretty fast inside this last 15 metres or so. If she can just hold on to the water, maybe she'll go a little bit quicker. Ask Amy about that in a second, but a good swim, 31.64 from Goodburn. Well, that's a new lifetime best by 2/100ths of a second in the heats of the British Championships.
Yeah, you could tell when she got off the start there that she looked like she would be in for a good race this morning. She held that stroke right to the end. Slightly higher stroke rate than we saw in the heat before, but it's kind of interesting to see how some of these sprinters swim slightly differently, and Imogen Clark coming up, she's also got quite a high stroke rate. But there we have it, Katie Goodburn, 31.64.
Seem to get a little bit quicker, almost increase the speed of a stroke. You see Adam Peter trying to hold on to the length of the stroke and get as much efficiency as he can down that last 15 metres. Maybe one of her and her coach will look at that inside the last 15 for the finals this evening. Heat 7 of the women's 50 metres breaststroke. Cara Hanlon, second ranked coming into this championship, second at the University Championships a couple of weeks ago. She's in lane 4. So second last heat of the women's 50 metres breaststroke, and we've already seen a new lifetime best from Goodburn in the previous heat. And her teammate Cara Hanlon in lane number 4 started well. Much longer stroke, much more rangy stroke in 4. And in 5, it is Sienna Robinson of City of Sheffield, third at the University Championship, so second and third in 4 and 5 at the recent British universities. And in 4, Cara Hanlon of Edinburgh University, very good second 25. She takes it 31.0. That is fast. Wow.
Yeah, really good swim from her this morning there, 31.0. She should be happy with that. Sometimes coming into a meet, you can be a little bit rusty in your first event, but Cara there looking happy with a big smile on her face, 31.03.
Well, it's getting quick, 31.0. Top 8 coming into the meet was 32.0. There were 3 under 32 there, so it looks like you're going to have to go sub 32 to make the big final. There's 4 finals here. There's the A final and the B final, and then there's one for the juniors, born 2005 to 2009, because there's European juniors to be selected here. And then there's a priority Paris final as well. So 4 opportunities to swim the finals this evening. I think it's a great idea, it really is. So the final heat of the women's 50 metres breaststroke, and the British record holder Imogen Clark going in lane number 4. Her British record 30.02. Didn't expect them to be quick this morning, but they really are flying. I wonder if we'll see a British record here. The final heat of the women's 50 metres breaststroke. Imogen Clark in 4. Amelia Riggott of Mount Kelly in lane number 5. And look at the start in 4 in that red hat from the Imogen Clark. Goodness me. European Championships bronze medalist in the 50 metres breaststroke, silver at the Commonwealth Games, and she looks really good. Let's just keep an eye on the British record here. She looks very good, really practicing her arena skills here. 30.02 is the British record. Just outside of that, 30.4, so 39/100ths of a second only outside of her British record.
Yeah, really, really good swim from her there. 0.6 quicker than the heat before, so coming into that final tonight, Imogen will be probably in that centre lane. She looked really good off the start there, had a really nice kind of what we see as a glide, a streamline, and that really big fly kick and pull out, and it served her well for the rest of the race. So, yeah, fantastic swim from her there, 30.41, way ahead of the rest of the field.
It's amazing, winning a 50 metres breaststroke heat by two seconds. Riggett of Mount Kelly second, good swim from her, very good swim from her in fact. And Hilo of Plymouth third, very tight after the winner though, 32.5, 32.66, 6.9, 7.2, really tight. And those final places, well, as I said, there's 4 finals. There's the A final and the B final in the open category. They'll fill those up first. Then the next fastest swimmers born 2005 to 2009 will go in the junior final, and then there's the priority Paris final for those who, well, generally it's going to be for those born 2000 and over, but for those who are probably just making that breakthrough from junior to senior. Like the idea of 4 finals, Amy?
Yeah, I think it gives a lot more people the opportunity to come back tonight and race in this environment at a British Championships. Definitely wasn't that opportunity when I was younger, so it's great to see some of the slightly slower and especially the junior swimmers get that opportunity to come back and swim well tonight.
Well, speaking of the opportunity to swim again, swimmers born 2005 to 2009 can swim in the junior final, and Alex Mason of Mount Kelly in lane number 4 here will qualify to be eligible to swim in one of those in the junior final, born in 2005. Just 3 swimmers in this first heat. Men's 50 metres backstroke, 7 heats, and I said there was going to be 6 heats in the morning, and then any other heats are going to be in the afternoon. And well, they've decided to swim all 7 because there are only 7 heats in this event, so they stuck them all in this morning. And a good start from Alex Mason right in the centre in the white hat of Mount Kelly. And it looks like he's going to take this first heat. His lifetime best 27.52. Good finish, 27.5, 27.26. Look at that. 0.26 of a second inside of his lifetime best. What a way to start the meet for him.
Yeah, really good swim there. He had a really nice start off the block. You could see that really tight streamline position underwater, and he came out in that breakout lovely. And Alex Mason there finishes first, 27.26. Finley from Glasgow there just behind him, 27.90, and Tobias 28.16.
It's probably also worth talking about the first swimmers representing the club at a championships, Amy, because we just had the women's 50 metres breaststroke, and now the men's 50 metres backstroke has started. Mount Kelly's going to see their guy there, Alex Mason, just do a lifetime best on the first one. What does that do for the rest of the team, just in terms of, you know, that setting the tone for the meet for the first male and female swimmers?
It definitely gives you that big boost. I know certainly at international meets I've kind of been up there with one of the first swimmers, so it's good to swim well and kind of get the ball rolling for the rest of the team, so it's nice when that happens.
Yeah, you were certainly a fantastic proponent of that, weren't you? Nobody in lane 4 in this second heat of men's 50 metres backstroke. So heat 2 of 7 of the 50 backstroke, and James Cleaver of Beckenham in lane number 5. Had the best start, possibly in lane 8. One from the top, lane 9 right at the very top. Gideon Golinski in lane number 8. One from the top there, had a very good start. Also going well in lane number 2 is Andrew Jones of Royal Wolverhampton School. And this is going to be really tight. Who gets a finish? Who touched it? Oh, goodness me. Well, Lucas Brown in the end got it. How on earth did he get that touch?
Yeah, it was really good there. I think it actually might have been Andrew Jones. Wait for the official results. Andrew Jones there, really good finish into the wall, 26.72. Especially in backstroke, you want to finish on a really long arm right over the top to make sure that you are the first person to get your hand on the wall, and that there served Andrew really well. So 26.72 he finishes, 0.1 ahead of David Annis. And third was Gideon Holinski from Plymouth, just behind him, 26.90. So all 3 of those boys going pretty quick this morning.
Very close indeed it was. I have to say, I couldn't see it from the place we're sitting. Thank you, Wayne, for sorting that one out. It was very, very difficult to see the finishes all across the pool. So heat 3 of 7. Men's 50 backstroke, it's hotting up quickly. 16th fastest seed coming in, it's 26.2. The fastest seed in this heat is 27.0, so that's Connor Cherrington of Millfield. If he can go lifetime best, he's got a great chance of making the final. Of course, the A's and the B's, there's 8 lanes in the final for each of the finals this evening. The A final, the B final, the junior final and the Priority Paris final. Nobody going in lane number 2. Lane 0 closest to us and very tight indeed. Maybe it is at the moment in lane number 6. Charlie Meek of Poole, possibly, if he can just finish under these backstroke flags well. He's going to dive for it. Who's going to get the touch? Really close it was. It looks like it was Charlie Meek of Poole, 26.72 again. Very tight these heats, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks like a lifetime best from him. Big smiles on his face. As I say, it is great when we're in these sprint events. Sometimes can be a little bit more difficult than the distance events because you have to be firing, you have to be on it to make sure that you're swimming well this morning. And there we have it, Charlie Meek from Poole, 26.72, that lifetime best. Connor Cherrington from Millfield, 26.96, and Aidan Simmons-Brown just behind him, 0.01 ahead of 4th in 27.05. So another very, very tight race there.
Well, certainly the top 3 doing lifetime best, and it is quick. I'm surprised about this a little bit. I mean, I suppose it is the British Championships, and it is a trial for many, many events. We'll go through all the different events that the British team is being selected for at these championships, but they are fast heats this morning, particularly starting off with a 50 breaststroke for women and then this 50 backstroke for men. So heat 4, the men's 50 backstroke. Shakil Jugadani of Haringey in lane number 4 is the fastest seed. Decent start though in 3 is Dean Fern of Aberdeen. And again, very, very tight down these first 30 metres or so. Thank goodness for electronic timing because pretty much all 10 of these guys in a line. Wow. Possibly in lane number 3 at the moment. Dean Fern, is it? Who gets the touch? Wow, really tight. Really tight. It looks like Nathan Wells got it, Amy.
Yeah, 0.01 seconds there ahead of Gabriel Knight from Bournemouth. So really, really tight swim there. And as we say, it's super important to get your hand straight over the wall. That lovely dive back, reach in so you get that really, really clean finish, because 0.01 these days makes a massive difference from maybe being in that A final to being in that B final. And obviously these swimmers tonight are fighting for one of those places to come back and swim again.
Well, another 35 100s lifetime best for the winner there, Nathan Wells. Some really good swimming, 26.54. But look how tight, 26.54, 5.5, 6.8, and then 2.26.78 and 8.3 and 8.6. Wow, 0.3 of a second, splitting the top 7.
Yeah, 2 ties there in that race, so this is when it becomes really critical to be in that final. You don't want really to be in a swim off, to have to swim again before tonight, so those swimmers will be keeping a close eye on the scoreboards to see which finals they might make it back in tonight.
So the first of the seeded heats, the fastest 30 swimmers in this event now in these next 3 heats. And Scott Gibson of Edinburgh University going in 4, Cam Brooker in 3 from Bath, and 5, Morgan of University of Birmingham. So the first of the seeded heats, the fastest 30 swimmers in these next 3 heats, and right in the centre we've got Scott Gibson of Edinburgh University in 4, and in 5 Oliver Morgan of the University of Birmingham. Had a super start. What a stroke he's got as well. A little bit slower turnover in 5 in the black hat, but he's going well, and going inside this last 5 metres now. He's got to make sure that he hits the touch perfectly. I think he's got it. What a great swim from Oliver Morgan, 25.07. Another 19 100ths of a second lifetime best. All of these heats being swum in lifetime best. This is really impressive for British swimming.
Yeah, it is. As we say, it can be quite tough. Day 1, first male event, to get up, get on that block and swim really well. So to see these boys here swimming very, very quick, obviously being really close, and Oliver Morgan there does get the touch, 25.07 after that phenomenal start. So it just shows how quick these boys are, and they're obviously looking at the heat before, seeing what they have to do, and just getting in and giving it their best shot this morning.
Well, those first 2 swims, very quick indeed. 25.0. That is fast. The fastest coming into this competition, fastest seed was 25.2. So that's the fastest time done by a Brit in the last 12 months, I believe. Jamie Robertson of University of Stirling, fastest seed in this second last heat of the men's 50 backstroke. Jonathan Adam in 3, Jamie Robertson of Stirling in 4, Joe Small of Swansea in 5. Quietly doing well. Swansea University. Second last heat of the men's 50 metres backstroke. Joe Small of Swansea in 5. Not had the best start there. I think in lane number 3, maybe it was Jonathan Adam of Bath Performance had a good start. Also in 6, Zach Speakman of University of Stirling. And it's really choppy the water here. And these guys, well, they're big guys and they're really blasting down this second 25. What a great last 25 that was from Jonathan Adam in lane number 3. 25.5, slightly slower than the previous heats. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can't really split these boys as they're coming into the finish, but Elliot Clogg there having a really good finish as well in lane 1 to get his hand there for third. 25.84. So not as close in terms of that 0.01, 0.02 as the heat before, but definitely another competitive heat as we come into the penultimate event.
Well, slightly slower heat, that one. That is interesting. Don't forget that the A and the B finals are open. They will fill those with the fastest 16 swimmers from the heats, both this morning and at lunchtime. There's a session of heats at lunchtime for the slightly slower swimmers on ranking, but there's no reason why they can't make it through to the finals this evening if they're quick enough. So heat 7, the final heat in this men's 50 metres backstroke. Lanes 4 and 5. Brought up swimming in the United States. Jonathan Marshall in 4 of Firestone Akron swimming team, FAST, fast. Love that. Sebastian Somerset in 5. Matt Ward of Mount Kelly in 3. Well, this is the final heat of the men's 50 metres backstroke, and it's also a very, very good warm-up for the 100 metres backstroke, and that a really important race for Team GB, certainly for the lead-off of the relays, the medley relays at the World Championships, and of course in Paris next year. My goodness me, how close is this one? Right in the centre in 5, maybe just Sebastian Somerset from in 4, Jonathan Marshall. These two guys going well. Oh, big terrible finish in 5 from Somerset, oh my word. 25.44. Well, I think there was a tie for first there, was there, Amy?
Yeah, Matthew Ward from Mount Kelly there had a really good finish. Tie there, as you say, 25.44. So some of these swimmers you think are maybe out of the picture, but with a really good finish, you can kind of claw back 0 point here, 0 point there. So yeah, it was Ward and Somerset there. Joint first position, 25.44. Jonathan Marshall, our European Junior silver medalist here in this event, 25.51. So pretty quick from those boys again this morning. And I believe with all 7 heats being in the morning, those boys will know if they've made it back in one of those junior finals, Priority Paris final, the B final, or that elusive A final that everybody wants to be in. So those swimmers can now go away, rest, recover, and come back tonight and hopefully be a little bit quicker and see what they can improve on from this morning.
But of course the 50 metres fly back and breast, not Olympic events. Still don't quite understand why they only have a 50 freestyle at the Olympics and not the 50 of the other stroke events. That seems a little bit weird, but anyway. Straight in, this meet is not slow at all. Straight into the next event, it is the women's 200 metres freestyle. And 8 heats. Heats 3 to 8 will be this morning. Heats 1 and 2 will be at lunchtime, the 2 slowest heats. And look up there in lane 0, she's actually going to be closest to us in the pool. That'll be Alice Deering, Great Britain's open water Olympian. Yeah, she was our marathon swimmer at the Tokyo Olympics, swam the women's 10K event, one of the hardest distances, so 200 freestyle sprint for her this morning. And you're right, Amy, it is a sprint for a marathon swimmer, 200 freestyle, but it's such a hard event because you can't treat it as an out-and-out sprint, because if you do, all the wheels will fall off fairly quickly. But if you treat it as a distance event, you get absolutely left behind.
Yeah, you do indeed. 200 freestyle is one of those tough events that you can miss pace very easily. We see it time and time again at international events where some of the best swimmers in the world kind of either get left behind or go out slightly too fast and get too excited. So pacing in this event is really important. But as you say, you don't want to give too much too early, but you don't want to get left behind. So you've really got to think about that when you're swimming 200 freestyle.
Laura Devine of Repton leading out over here in lane number 3, also going well up there in lane 8, one from the top, is Eve Tinsley of Newcastle. And these two are going to be first to turn at the 100, the halfway point. It's just in lane number 3, Laura Devine of Repton. 60.3, not a bad first 100, given the fact that her entry time is 2:06. So if she's gone out in 60 point, if she can work this third 50, Amy, this is going to be a great swim.
Yeah, she looks really comfortable still here. She's still holding that stroke down the first kind of 100 metres there. She's maybe starting to tie up a tiny bit here, so she's really got to think about using those legs to keep the front of that stroke nice and long, but she still looks quite comfortable. She's still leading the way there in this event. She turns first there at 1:32.37, so she should be on for a good swim here. She can come back around that 32-second mark like she just split on that third 50, so hopefully there's a PB in it for her.
Well, this is a really impressive swim from Laura Devine of Repton in lane number 3. Coming back at her is Henrietta Lamassa, also of Repton, and these two Repton girls in 3 and 2. Going very, very well indeed. Can they get the touch? Can they go 2:04, 2:05 maybe? 2:05.2. Well, with an entry time of 2:06.6, Laura Devine's just gone 2:05.2, and her teammate Damassa also entered on a 2:06, has also gone a 2:05 low. That's really impressive swimming. 2:05.2 and 2:05.3.
Yeah, really good swims there from both of those girls. Suppose Damassa there in lane 2 maybe just saw her teammate from Repton School just behind her, and she thought, I want a little bit of that. So she had a really good last length there, because she was quite far behind at that 150 split. So all 3 girls there breaking that 2:06 mark. So 3 PBs from our top 3 swimmers in that first heat.
Well, this meet really is producing some cracking swims, and its lifetime bests winning pretty much every single heat so far, almost without exception. I think maybe the odd 1 or 2 here and there, but very impressive indeed. This heat 4 of 8 of the women's 200 free. Scarlett Orchard, the fastest seed from Loughborough University, in 4. Catherine Bailey of Perth in 5, and 3 it's Madeline Robertson of University of Stirling. I just tell you, lane 0 is at the bottom of your screen. That's Ellen Morgan of University of Stirling. And right at the top is lane 9. So it's 0 at the bottom, 9 at the top, and the 2 yellow lines, lane lines in the centre denote lanes 4 and 5. And gone off pretty well down this first 50 in lane number 4. That's Scarlett Orchard of Loughborough.
Yeah, really good start there, but just turning first at that first 50, it was lane 1, Sasha Thomas, Norwich Swans, 29.19. So pretty quick start from these swimmers in the outside lanes.
In heats like this, Amy, do you mind being on an outside lane, or would you prefer to be right in the centre in one of these early heats? This is heat 4 of 8 of the women's 200 free.
Sometimes for me it was kind of, if you've got a lane, you've got a chance, that really kind of corny saying, but if you were working on something technical or you were working on a specific race plan, it wouldn't matter what lane you were in, because you're just focusing on what you're doing, what your race process might be, and not really worrying about everybody else. But it is nice when there's battles for final positions, when you're wanting to make it back and swim well, to be in the mix a little bit. So it's nice when you're in that spearhead position, sort of in lane 3, 4 and 5, to be in the mix, to battle basically right to the wall.
And you're talking about that spearhead position. You can see most of the race really is spearheaded, with the fastest swimmers in the centre moving out to maybe slightly slower on the outside, and it's working almost perfectly. And a really good third 50 metres there from Scarlett Orchard of Loughborough in lane 4.
Yeah, she's having a really good swim here. She's got a lovely leg kick. kicking really well. All these girls in the centre now have just started to pick up the legs into the last 15 metres of the wall.
So Skylar Orchard, can she hold on from Loughborough University? Coming back quickly is Catherine Bailey in 5 of Perth City. And the last 15 metres, really good from the Perth from that, and she's got it, I think she has. Look at that, by 5/100ths of a second. Yeah, well done. Catherine Bailey of Perth City Swim Club in lane 5 wins heat 4 of the women's 200 metres freestyle.
Yeah, girls there in the centre of the pool, both swimming just under their personal bests, which were also season's best. So it's nice when you come to the benchmark meet and swim really well. Madeline Robertson there in 3rd from the University of Stirling, just under her best as well, I believe. So yeah, those top 3 swimmers there all splitting 2:05 ahead of the rest of the field this morning.
Great swimming in new season's best it was indeed from Madeline Robertson. So heat 5, the last of the unseeded heats. 8 heats in total in this women's 200 free. Phila de Britton of Ealing, coached by Dave Heathcott there in lane 5, and 4 it's Megan Allison of Swansea. A little bit of movement on the start, just having to wait for absolute still before the gun goes. And what a start down here in lane 0 and 1. Sophie Freeman of Colchester and Beth Hall, particularly Beth Hall in, well, it is lane 1. There is a lane 0, but the white tat of Beth Hall in lane 1. Really great start from her.
Yeah, some really good starts from those girls in the outside lanes. It is quite nice, I suppose, not necessarily really important in these slightly longer events to get that really good start, but if you're out in front and you're carrying that momentum, it definitely gives you that little bit of a confidence boost to kind of control and command the race. So the race here kind of playing out really well from the outside lanes. Up in lane 8, it is Amy Davis from the University of Nottingham, also having a really good swim this morning.
Well, she's gone off very quickly up there in lane 8, hasn't she? 1 from the top. That is Amy Davis of University of Nottingham. Going with her in lane 9 right at the very top is Lucy Fox of Wickham. And those two quite a way ahead. Look at that, almost a full second ahead of the rest of the field. It'll be interesting now to see what happens to the quicker seeded swimmers right in the centres. Sophie Freeman of Colchester right closest to us, also working hard down this third 50 metres.
Yeah, we can see some slightly different techniques here across the board, but if you look all the way across, the legs are already motoring. The third 50 of a 200 event, in particular the freestyle, is really important. We see kind of the race open up a little bit. Those swimmers who've maybe gone out a little bit too fast start to get a little bit tired and left behind. And here we've got a little bit of change in positions. Lane 8 there, Amy Davis just starting to tie up as the rest of the field catch her, but still going well at the top. It is Lucy Fox in lane 9, having a fantastic swim.
She certainly is. She's a great 200 fly swimmer. She's using the 200 expertise here on this 200 metres freestyle heat 5, the last of the unseeded heats. Her lifetime best 2:05.42. 2:05.42 was her lifetime best. Look at that, 0.9 of a second inside of her best. That's a great swim from her, right on the outside. Really impressive, an outside smoker there. That was a super swim.
Yeah, she could have quite easily got a little bit excited and she saw Amy Davis go off quite fast. She went with her, but knew that she would probably have enough in the tank, so she commanded that really well, and she just kept holding that pace. She held that lovely nice stroke and served her really well coming into the wall there. So yeah, 2:04.57, 1 second personal best, and I imagine she'll be pretty chuffed with that this morning.
Well, top 2 lifetime bests, and Beth Hall of Mount Kelly just outside her lifetime best as well. So some great swimming in that, the last of the unseeded heats of the women's 200 free, and the first of the seeded heats. And the big guns really are in now. Look at this, in 2 Holly Widows, in 3 Jessica Podger, 4 Lucy Hope, 5 Candice Hall, 6 Erin Little. What a heat. Heat 6 of 8 heats of the women's 200 metres freestyle. And this, the first of the seeded heats, are the fastest 30 swimmers in the pool in this women's 200 metres freestyle. Now in the water, Erin Little, and the white hat up there in lane number 6 from Mount Kelly started well. Amy, the relay focus for Team Great Britain seems to have shifted a little bit. They've really started focusing now a little bit more on the women's 4x100 free relay, and particularly appropriate here, the women's 4x200 free relay.
Yeah, we used to have some really good relays. Mel Marshall, Joe Jackson, we had Becca Adlington, and then we went through a little bit of a, not a blip, but there wasn't as many 4x200 freestyle swimmers to pick from for that relay. So now we've got Lucy Hope. We had some success in the summer at both the Commonwealths with our home nation teams, and especially at the Europeans, where the British girls won a silver. So Lucy was part of that relay there, and she's going out really well this morning. She was the second leg. But it is Erin Little who turns first, 58.72. A lot quicker than we saw in the heat before, going out in that 60-second mark, so almost 2 seconds ahead of the previous heat already.
Lane 4, Lucy Hope, looking very good indeed down this third 50. Just got a message from James Guy. Thank you, James. We'll sort that out. I think there's a little bit of heavy breathing going on. I think he thinks Darth Vader's with me in the commentary box. I can tell you, James, it's actually me doing the heavy breathing. Every time I blow out my nose for some reason, it's, it makes some funny noise. But anyway, thanks for that, mate. Lucy Hope looking very good down this last 50 though, Amy.
Yeah, she's had a really good swim there. She's commanded the race from the beginning. We saw her have a really good opening leg there to that 100-metre mark, and she's turned on those afterburners, as we like to call them, and she looks really strong this morning coming down. The last 15 metres of this race is still Lucy Hope out in front. And she does finish there, 1:59.44 this morning, so she should be pretty happy with that. I think anything under 2 minutes here is a pretty decent swim and should guarantee you a place back in that A final tonight. So great swim from Lucy there. Jessica Podger there, just behind, 2 minutes 0.24. So 2 minutes 0.7 is 8th seed in this event, so we might see both of those girls back in the A final. But with 2 heats left to go, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, certainly Lucy Hope and Jess Podger done the job there. Erin Little's going to have to wait and see. 2:06, it could be good enough for the big final, for the A final, but there are 4 finals here. And of course, Erin Little, born in 2005, can be in the A final, the B final. She can be in all 4, actually. The junior final as well for swimmers born 2005 to 2009. And then there's the junior, the Priority Paris final for swimmers born 2000 and later. The second last heat of the women's 200 metres freestyle. Evelyn Davis in 6. In 5, it's Mia Slevin, and the higher of those 2 yellow lane lines. Abby Wood of Loughborough Performance Centre in 4, and Leah Schlossen of Leeds in 3. Yeah,
Abby Wood there got off to a really good start. She has such a good underwater phase, which is what we like to call it, off the block. So she had 2 or 3 really powerful kicks, and then she increased that intensity up to the surface, and I'm sure we'll see her again off this wall. There she goes, holding about 7 metres off the wall, so a little bit further than the rest of her competitors, and she is swimming really well this morning already. Just behind her is Leah Schlossen, one of our junior swimmers, so she'll be looking to make it back into that junior final tonight. Obviously, if she swims really quick this morning, she'll make it into that A final. And as we've said, those swimmers don't have a choice. So if you are a junior swimmer, but you've swam very fast, you will be in the A final with maybe the older swimmers or the more competitive girls in that event. So for me, I think that's the one you want to be in. And Abby Wood here this morning already, having a fantastic swim. She's still breaking away from the rest of those girls, looking to build this up.
I mean, she doesn't need to go quite this quick, certainly down that first 100 metres in the heats of the British Nationals to make it through to the final. Interesting tactics. Why do you think she's going quite as quick as this?
I suppose at international events, you don't have the option to not be a little bit lazy, but we call save a little bit and have something left in the tank. So she's maybe practicing that, rehearsing what she might have to do at the Worlds if she qualifies this summer. So it is good practice, and it's good to see swimmers come here and not really rest on their laurels and try and have the best swim they can first thing in the morning.
Well, Dave Henry's done a super job with Abby Wood, and of course Molly Renshaw, her teammate, just recently retired. Good luck to her and everything that she does going forwards. But this is a really impressive swim. Abby 1:58.7, 1:59.9 second. That was Mia Slevin. So again, the first 2 swimmers sub 2 minutes. So it looks like if you want to make the big final for sure, you're going to have to go sub 2 minutes in the heats. 1:58.7 for Abby Wood, our 5 times Commonwealth medalist from Birmingham last year, 4th at the Olympics on the 200 medley, 7th at the Olympics on 200 breaststroke, choosing to do the 200 free here.
Yeah, she is such a good medley swimmer, but we have seen her in the last kind of year and a half be really competitive in those 100 metres and 200 metres freestyle events. Maybe thinking she wants a bit of action in those relays. They are more exciting, I suppose, than when you're swimming in events on your own. So, yeah, she's had a really good swim there this morning, and 1:58 will comfortably make it back tonight.
Certainly will. I wouldn't be too surprised if it's in one of the centre lanes. And I wouldn't be too surprised either if one of the swimmers, if not both, in 4 and 5 here, Freya Anderson and Maddie Harris, take one of the centre lanes for the final tonight as well. The final heat of the women's 200 metres freestyle, it's heat 8. And we've got Freya Anderson of Great Britain, our absolute superstar. What a year she had. In actual fact, to be fair, Maddie Harris was also utterly brilliant from Swansea University in lane 5 last year. She had a wonderful year last year.
Yeah, we tend to think of Maddie Harris a little bit more as one of our backstroke swimmers, but she is a very, very good freestyle swimmer. We saw her as part of that 4x200 metre relay that won silver at the European, so she was actually on the 3rd leg of that race. Freya Anderson next to her was in leg 4, so these two girls have swam together a couple of times.
And, well, Freya, as expected, a black hat, the black suit, long, rangy, powerful stroke, really tall, beautiful swimmer. Look at this technique, absolutely stunning. Nice high elbow, lovely, controlled, economic stroke down this first 100 metres of this 200 free. Look at the kick, really almost laboured down the first 100, but it's really keeping a nice balance of her stroke, her body position, very good. 57.6 to her feet on the first 100. Quick.
Yeah, she looks very comfortable as well, so it doesn't look like a difficult 57.6. So it's nice as a swimmer when you go down the swim and you think, oh, this feels quite nice, it's quite comfortable, and then the scoreboard reflects in a really nice, positive way. So Freya looking really, really nice this morning. As you said, that lovely long stroke, not massive legs behind her, comes up quite quick off the turns, only does 1 or 2 sort of small kicks, but when she's this far ahead and she's swimming so well, she's maybe saving a little bit of that energy for tonight, but she's just stretching further and further in front as she comes down to the last 25 metres.
Well, fascinating at the 150, she turned pretty much exactly the same as Abby Wood did. But it looks like this final 50 metres may be a little bit stronger from Freya Anderson. A really impressive swim, though. She's going to go, what, 157, maybe 158 just? 158.06. Well, that'll be fastest into the final this evening. Maddie Harris, 2:01.0. Gotta tell you, that's going to be tight to make the final. She should, I think, but had a little bit tighter qualification than I think probably she would have wanted, though she's on just the right-hand side of those two swimmers.
Yeah, Freya went out and was so far ahead, and I think sometimes when you're next to somebody who's a little bit far ahead, you can't really get stuck in and race. So 2:01.1, we'd like to hope that Maddie will be back in one of those top 8 positions, but we'll guarantee we'll see Freya in one of those centre lanes later on today. 2:02.0, be very close there from kick lifted in 3rd to make it back, but as we said, there are A finals, B finals, Priority Paris and junior finals, so there's lots of opportunity for all of those girls.
So first 3 events done, women's 50 metres breaststroke, men's 50 backstroke, now that women's 200 freestyle. We didn't see Freya Colbert in that 200 free. I think she will be one to be considered for the British team for the 4x2 free relay if they choose one. We didn't see her in that event, though.
No, she's got the 400 individual medley coming up just after this, so it is a tough double to do the 400 medley and the 200 freestyle, which is one of the reasons why I never did the 200 freestyle. So, yeah, she's obviously made the decision to focus a little bit more on that medley this morning.
Straight into the next event, men's 400 free, British record held by James Guy. Thank you for that quick text message, James. Appreciate that. So 400 freestyle, there's 8 heats of 400 free, but we are only going to see from heats 3 to 8. 6 heats of each event will be swum in the morning session, and if there are any more entries, then they will come, the slower swimmers will come in an afternoon session. They're trying to regulate this morning session of 6 heats, and pretty much without exception it's 6 heats per event. There were 7 in the men's 50 metres backstroke, but that's because there were just 3 more swimmers to add in. Amy, do you like the idea of 6 heats regimented per event?
I think it gives the swimmers who are potentially guaranteed to make it back in the finals a little bit more time for recovery. If we had every swimmer in this morning heats, it would take a little bit longer. It would mean that those swimmers at the end of the event and the end of the program, say in the 100 meters breaststroke, might be hanging around a little bit longer. So it's great to kind of have the session a little bit more condensed so that these swimmers can get back, rest, and then prepare for tonight. But going well in this heat so far is Christian Dufort in lane 1, 56.82. So a great start to this 400 meters freestyle event. Obviously anything can change. 400 freestyle, 8 lengths of this pool. But sometimes you just want to get in, have a good swim, not really worry about what everybody else is doing. And if you're going to swim a personal best and you want to make it back in one of those finals tonight, sometimes that's what you've got to do. And Christian Dufort having a really nice swim, lovely long stroke. Doesn't look like it's too physically demanding already in this first 200 meters, but we'll see as we go through the race whether he can keep this lovely long stroke, hold his splits, maybe hold his underwater work, because those are things that are really important as you start to increase the length of the events, especially in the 400 freestyle.
So that's the halfway turn, and Christian Dufort looking very good down here in lane number 1. Lane 0 to 9 in this pool, and he's got about a 5-meter lead from the rest of the field. Maybe the yellow hat up there in lane number 6 from the City of Leeds, Kodaka. But looks very good indeed at the moment, does Christian. Just have a look at his leg kick a little bit here, Amy, for me, if you will, the leader here in the black hat, because he seems to kick really hard. Is it when he breathes, and then almost nothing when he doesn't breathe? It's an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, some swimmers tend to be not a little bit more laboured, or call it like a limp, but some swimmers tend to stretch out really nicely on that stroke when they breathe, maybe increase the length of that cycle a little bit so they can fit that breath in. And then obviously as they recover with the other arm, it looks like there's a little bit of a limp, or their leg kick kind of balances that out. So we would like a nice consistent leg kick, but we've seen lots of swimmers swim different ways, especially in international events. It's just important that you do what works for you and you have a really strong swim. And he's still looking really good here down this last 100 meter mark. Turns in 3 minutes, 0.55. So with an entry time of 4:07, he should be well under that this morning. So he'll be pretty happy, I imagine, when he sees that on the scoreboard.
Well, it's an amazing swim, isn't it? The Guildford City man in lane number 1 here in the black hats, starting to come back a little bit in lane number 6 up there with the yellow hat of the City of Leeds, Kourosh Kodaka. But really, Christian Dufort, from the start, actually, right from the start, they're starting to reel him in a little bit. He's gone out a little bit quick, but this is really impressive. And as you say, Amy, from his best time of 4:07, it looks like he's going to get very close to the 4-minute mark. And if he can do that, I mean, that's going to be a very, very impressive swim indeed. Maybe 4:01, 4:02, something like that, maybe. 4:07.58 is his lifetime best. He's gone 4:03.2. 4-second lifetime best. Impressive, really impressive.
Yeah, really good swim from him. And the City of Leeds over there in lane 6, Kourosh, also swimming a lifetime best of almost 3 seconds. So both of those swimmers, not conventionally in the spearhead in the centre of the pool, both kind of taking the advantage this morning and taking that opportunity to get in and swim well. And a 3-second PB to start your British Championships is a nice way to begin.
Well, that was very impressive indeed. Just waiting for the official confirmation of the results, but unless anything untoward happened, don't really see disqualifications on 400 freestyles very much, do you? Just off the starts, really. And having said that, there was a disqualification. Cameron Rapson of City of Birmingham. Well, the only thing I can really think of is that he either went too far underwater off the start and the turns, which I don't think he would have done, so he probably would have twitched off the start, Amy.
Yeah, it's such a shame when that happens, when you just wobble at the beginning, you've maybe lost a little bit of balance, and it can happen to anyone. And I suppose the nerves, the apprehension of being here at the British Championships can sometimes throw a swimmer off, and they get a little bit too excited and almost jump the gun. So shame for him this morning, but I wonder what his time was, and hopefully he'll be happy with that regardless.
4-second lifetime best, I'd take it every day of the week. Heat 3 of 8 just gone. This is heat 4 in the men's 400 metres freestyle. And again in lane number 1, I don't know what it is about lane number 1, but David Annis of the Royal Wolverhampton School gone off like a shot down here in the dark blue hat. Also going well is the wonderfully named Rafi Shaffi of Repton.
Yeah, really nice name there. I wish I had a cool name like that. I feel like Amy Wilmot didn't sound as exciting as that to get in the pool and compete, but I'll take it, I suppose.
It's got to be a rapper, isn't he? Rafi Shaffi?
Yeah, sounds really, really exciting. And he's having a good swim already in the centre of the pool. Maybe not the quickest off the start, but already down the second length of this 400, he's kind of got back into that rhythm. He's got a lovely quite long stroke there. Nice little gentle leg kick, kind of balancing out the stroke as we come down this first 100. Especially in 400 freestyle, you don't want to get too excited with those legs too early because it is a long way to go. And you really want that leg kick to kind of build up and increase in the last 2 lengths of the race when everybody else is maybe getting a bit fatigued and you've got that little bit of something that you've been holding back just to kind of claw into the finish. But both of these boys here that had a good start are still off really well.
Well, I don't know how you do pronounce R-A-F-A-E. Might be Rafe, I suppose, but I want to call him Rafi Shaffi because it sounds, it's got that ring to it. Interesting turns. We'll have a look at the turn at the halfway mark at the next turn here, Amy, because he does come up quite quickly. He doesn't really use the underwater that much. Maybe a little bit of effort on the butterfly kick underwater, but breathes pretty quickly. But it's efficient for him, the Repton swimmer in lane number 4, and he looks good coming into this halfway turn. Annis of Royal Wolverhampton School in lane number 1, also going well closer to us. But have a quick look at this turn for us right in the centre in the orange hat of Shaffi.
Yeah, so about 5 metres there, comes up. Doesn't look like he's using too much energy under the water. Doesn't look like it's slowing him down too much either. So some swimmers tend to opt, if they're maybe not the strongest underwater, to maybe miss out on some of those underwater kicks. Obviously, we saw Freya Anderson in the women's 200 freestyle choose to only maybe do 2 or 3 of those, rather than Abby Wood, who maybe did 5 or 6 and went a lot further underwater. So the swimmers that tend to work on what their strengths are, use that to help them. But lane 1 here, definitely having a really good split there. He's obviously turned on a little bit of those legs, thinking about building into the last 200 metres of this race.
And also coming through with him, Alexander Herand of Daventio Excel in lane number 2. So it's Ennis leading, and he seemed to get to just before the 200-metre mark, and then tactically looked like he really picked up the pace going into the halfway turn, that previous 100-metre turn, and really worked that third 100 metres.
Yeah, you get a lot of momentum going into the wall, not off the wall. So if you're thinking about maybe building the third 100, you would build into the third 100 wall, so then you've got that momentum to come off the wall. So both of these swimmers here, down the sort of the closest to the screen. Also lane 9, Adam Hall from Loughborough, turning on his legs. Really looks like he's working this 7th length hard. So it is very tight between these two boys now, both turning 3:31.89, 3:31.96. So 0.1 of a second splitting them here, but coming down the last 25 metres, it is Adam Hall in lane, James McClure in lane 0, that was my bad, having a fantastic last 100 metres here. Really good, strong finish, and it is going to be lane 0, James McClure from City of Birmingham, 4 minutes 6.8, 5 seconds under his entry time, so I'm not surprised that he's got a little bit of a smile on his face there, despite swimming 400 metres of freestyle. So just behind him there was David Annis, who'd had a fantastic swim also, 4:01.32 he finishes, also 5 seconds under his entry time. So really, really good there to see James have a fantastic last 100 metres, almost swim over the top of the rest of the field and finish in 4 minutes 0.68. Really, really good swim.
Well, that's outstanding, isn't it? 6 second season best, 5 second lifetime best from lane 0, wins heat 4. Men's 400 freestyle. Well done, sir. James McClure of City of Birmingham. Well done. This is heat 5 of 8. The men's 400 metres freestyle. P.S. Greening of University of Stirling in lane number 4, fastest seed. So men's 400 metres freestyle, heat 5 of 8. Just 4 heats left. This is the first of those 4. Of course, they're looking for one of 4 different final places here. The A and the B finals, of course, as usual. And the fastest swimmers, regardless of how old they are, will be in the A final. The next 8 fastest swimmers ranked 9 to 16 after the heats will be in the B final. Then we'll go to the junior final of swimmers ranked or born between 2005 and 2009. And there's an awful lot of junior events this summer. There's the European Junior Swimming Championships, there's the World Junior Swimming Championships, there's a new event, the European Under-23s Championship, and then there's a Commonwealth Youth Games meet as well. So there's 4 junior meets being selected here, and of course, from the senior side, the World Championships.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunity in the summer. There's also the European Youth Olympics for our even younger swimmers. So there's plenty of opportunities for these swimmers to get international experience in the summer. And at whatever age you can gain that experience, the Youth Olympics, for me, was a fantastic stepping stone and platform into being away from home, competing against some of the best swimmers in the rest of sort of Europe, not necessarily just those British swimmers. So any international experience you can get just puts you in good stead for those senior international competitions, whenever that might be that you break through and you're swimming against the world's best swimmers, regardless of age.
Well, right at the top there, Sam Budd of City of Sheffield had a comfortable first 100, but he swam well down this second 100 metres coming into the halfway turn. And it's the outside lanes, lane 0 closest to us and lane 9 right at the top will be first to turn. Highly unusual, almost an inverted arrow spearhead here for this heat 5 of 8 heats of the men's 400 freestyle.
Yeah, 158.0 and 158.12 there from those outside lanes. So a pretty good opening 200-metre split. These boys have got season's best times and entry times of 4 minutes and 5 seconds. So obviously we saw 4 minutes in the heat before. So if these swimmers are wanting to be competitive, they've probably seen that benchmark time and they are looking to get in here and swim a good race, and splitting around 31 seconds, I think, roughly per length. They should be on for a good split around that 4 minute 2 mark. So all depends what you've got left in the tank in that last 100, whether you've gone out a little bit fast. But these 2 boys in the outside lane still looking really comfortable.
Well, they certainly are. I mean, looking good as well in lane number 2 in the green hat. That's 3 from the bottom of the screen. That's third 100, very quick indeed from Max Adams of Swansea University. I had a quick chat with their team yesterday evening, the coaching team, the management team from University of Swansea. And I was really impressed with how close Welsh swimming is from that Swansea Performance Centre and also Swim Wales. They seem to have really got a proper structure together and really putting something quite special together, which was really impressive to see.
Yeah, I think last year with the Commonwealth Games, obviously having the home nation divided for that does kind of bring a little bit more atmosphere and a little bit more kind of camaraderie between those home nations. But obviously this year we're back to Team GB, we're back at the World Championships, so all of those nations and the best swimmers we've got will be back on one team for the Worlds this year.
Well, Max Adams does represent Swansea University in the green hat. It looks like he's gone well in lane number 2, 3 from the bottom, but right at the top there, hanging on really well from City of Sheffield is Sam Budd. And could we see another winner from an outside lane? It's going to be really tight on the touch. Who gets it? I think it was just by, what, 7/100ths of a second. Sam Budd right at the top there from City of Sheffield, 4:01.87. Second was Max Adams, the fast finishing, very good second 200 metres from Swansea University, 4:01.94. Impressive from those 2.
Yeah, not necessarily as quick as the heat before, but to still come here and swim a 4-second PB is a really good swim. And we keep saying swimming PBs this morning is really good, but it is positive. Not all the time you go to an important competition and you swim really well. Sometimes the nerves can get you. You can maybe wobble a little bit, not really swim the race you want to do. But a lot of these boys in this 400 freestyle have swam very different ways, but ultimately swam pretty good and come away with lots and lots of PBs. So here we have heat 6 in the men's 400 freestyle.
Well, there's been a slight reseed of these last 3 heats, heats 6, 7 and 8. And the fastest seed in this heat 6 is Freddie Ashley Sparks of Plymouth Leander. So right in the centre in lane number 4, it is Ashley Sparks of Plymouth. Gone out pretty well down this first 25 metres is Josh Williams, again of Swansea University. Kevin Brooks, his coach, and again, I just was quite taken just by, everyone talks about, oh, we're really close and we're really well organised and we work really well together. I actually got a proper feeling that they actually were, and they're really producing something quite special in Swansea, and they're really proud of what they're doing, and their link with Swim Wales as well is very, very tight, and it's great to see that, because it's lovely to see the Welsh up there. Commonwealth Games, of course, last year, a really important meet for the Welsh, and to get their act together and really put something tight and strong and something to believe in, where swimmers can actually now go there to that Swansea programme and really perform well and know that they're going to get good coaching and really good support as well from everything else, from the nutrition, from the psychology, from all that kind of additional stuff, which is so important these days. Really very impressive indeed.
Yeah, it's nice when a programme is almost so super competitive and everybody wants to be there and everybody wants to be in that environment. Not all programmes, I suppose, have got that sort of reputation. They've got that at the University of Stirling. Obviously, Scotland's best want to be at that programme. Welsh best, want to be in Swansea. So they've got those bases set up really well, and they're producing lots and lots of swimmers now that are starting to come through in the senior events and senior positions.
So coming into the halfway turn in this heat 6 of 8 of the men's 400 metres freestyle. In lane number 6, it's Jack Munsey of University of Stirling leading from Josh Williams of Swansea. And these two guys, well, they do look very comfortable. The stroke in lane 5 of Josh Williams is beautiful, I have to say. Very long and efficient, trying to get as much as he can. Breathing straight off that first stroke, interesting off the wall at the halfway turn. And now looking at each other. This tactically is a really interesting spot for me on the 400 freestyle. Just after that 200 metres turn aiming, do they start really ramping it up, or do they try and hold on a little bit more comfortable and leave a little bit for the final 100?
I think it depends who you are and what athlete you are and almost what engine you've got. For me, I would think if I can go now and just expend a little bit, I will have something left at the end. So I had that confidence that I'd have a little bit of a reserve in the tank, even if I worked maybe a little bit harder than I wanted to in the third 100. Because when you're in that racing situation, if you think, oh, my race plan is to hold back and just swim my way, but you get left behind, no matter how good your last 100 is, you might not be able to catch the swimmer who's just edged that little bit too far in front of you. So both of these boys maybe thinking, what have I got? How much can I push? What will I have on that last length here? And the battle is still in lane 5 and 6 between Josh Williams and Jack Munsey.
Well, it is, but now starting to charge is the rest of the field at them, and they really are starting to make a move. Look in lane number 2 now, 3 from the bottom of the shot there. Tony Joe Trent Oliver. Is that his name? Tony Joe Trent Oliver. Trent Oliver, it looks like it is, from University of Stirling. He was 15 years of age before we could spell his whole name. That's a long one, isn't it? Tony Joe Trent Oliver of University of Stirling. Well, he's had a great third 100, and this fourth 100 he's pushing pretty hard as well.
Yeah, he's saved a little bit. You can see his legs in the back of him kind of pushing him down this last 50 metres there. Breathing every 2 kind of towards the swimmer on his left, who's just kind of moved over to sit on that lane up and see if he can get a little bit of that draft off Tony Joe. So it is becoming very close, but having a really good finish here, storming down the centre of the pool. It is lane 4, but Tony Joe does... Well, for me, sorry, looked like he hung on to that, but it does look like Freddie Ashley Sparks there had a phenomenal finish. Just got his hand on the wall first. 3:59.36. So our first swimmers there under that 4-minute barrier. Little bit quicker than the heat before.
Amy, I'd love to know how fast he can do if he didn't wait for that last 50 metres but went earlier, because it would certainly hurt a lot more. But he was so quick down that last 50, was the winner, Freddie Ashley Sparks of Plymouth.
Yeah, looked like he'd almost, to me, saved a little bit too much. So if he's back in one of them finals tonight, he might think, right, where can I expend a little bit more energy? If I'm wanting to be even quicker, where can I do it? And that's what the British Championships is about, and especially being able to come back in one of those 4 finals. That's where lots of learning happens before you get to the international meets in the summer.
Well, heats 7 and 8 in the pool now. The fastest 20 swimmers in this men's 400 freestyle, and the big boys really are in now. Look at this. Hector Pardo, the Olympian, British Olympian, in that open water. Got one of the worst injuries I've ever seen in open water swimming. Got an elbow to the eye. I thought he lost his eye. That was in the Olympics, the 10,000 metre open water in Tokyo Bay. He's now in Sheffield at the Ponds Forge Swimming Centre here in Sheffield, and it's a beautiful swimming pool. It really is a wonderful facility for swimming. There's also a great diving centre here, and they also other sports as well, volleyball, etc. So Pardo in lane 5, Kieran Bird in 4, Charlie Hutchinson of Loughborough University in 3. But it looks like in lane number 4, a really quick start for Kieran Bird of Bath Performance Centre.
Yeah, British Olympian there in the centre of the pool. Swam really good swim in London a couple of years ago to qualify for the Tokyo Olympic Games. Almost surpassed his own expectations to swim a fantastic 400 metres freestyle. So here he is from Bath Performance Centre in lane 4. We don't have Dan Jervis, who was the winner of this 400 metre event last year. So we've got Kieran Bird in this event. We've got Luke Turley coming up in the next heat. So to see these swimmers here already breaking quite far away at the centre of the field. Kieran Bird just showing maybe a little bit of his experience here. Obviously trying to prove a point, maybe how good he could be in here this morning. Obviously Charlie Hutchinson and Hector Pardo, either side of them, from Loughborough Uni and the Loughborough Performance Centre. But Kieran Bird there, still a couple of metres ahead at the 150 mark. Using his legs a little bit more than we tend to see some swimmers, but quite often if it's one of your strengths, especially if you're an amazing kicker, then you're obviously going to use those legs a little bit more throughout the whole race, because it seems silly if you're a super duper kicker to not use them when everybody else is maybe holding back a little bit. But Kieran Bird there does turn at the halfway mark, 1:53.09. Charlie Hutchinson just above him in second.
Well, the British team has decided to have 2, well, actually 3 elements, I suppose, of the selection policy. I'll go to the third first, which is they've got 8 discretionary picks. They can choose 8 swimmers that they would like to outside of the guidelines for the selection policy. And then, well, there's an A consideration time. If you win a final in the evening session inside the A consideration time, it's a qualifying time actually, then you go. But those times are enormously quick. In 6 of the events, they're faster than the British record. So you've got to win the final inside that qualifying time, and then you will be on the plane to Fukuoka for the World Senior Championships. This is a good swim from Kieran Bird. That's a 300 metres turn, 253 at the 300. So he's going to be sort of close, I guess, to just around the 350 mark. So there's the automatic qualification time, and the time, I've got to tell you, is really quick on this 400 free, 3:44.0. But then they've got a consideration time, which, Amy, is a little bit more reasonable, I think.
Yeah, slightly. 2 seconds kind of wiggle room, 3:46.34. So still a really quick time for that men's 400 freestyle. But I suppose in world swimming, the 400 freestyle for the men at the moment is very, very fast, particularly good. So the boys here at the British Championships might have a little bit of work to do if they're going to try and get close to that 3:46 mark. But this morning, for some of our kind of key athletes who probably know that they'll be back in that A final, might be more about working on specific things that they've got in plan for tonight. But it is Kieran Bird, led from the beginning, had a lovely controlled race, finishes first there, 3:54.26. Hot on his heels, so it was Charlie Hutchinson, 3:54.96. So these two boys looking pretty happy with that this morning. Doesn't look like it cost them too much, and obviously they'll hopefully be back in that swim tonight. So yeah, looking pretty easy almost, but 3:54.26 leads 3:54.96, and Alexander Sargent there from Millfield, 3:55.41.
Well, the last 100 was just over 60 seconds for Kieran Bird there, so he certainly took his foot off the gas down that last 100. Good quality first 200, and then just eased up a little bit, I think, saving some energy for this evening, because he's got to come in the top 2 and go 3:46.3, which is quick. He can do it. His best time is 3:46.00, so it's possible. Won the Olympic trials last year in 3:46.0, a 5-second lifetime best that was for the swimmer who just won that last heat, Kieran Bird. What a swim that was. He's put himself on the Tokyo Olympic team. So this is the final heat, heat 8 of the men's 400 meters freestyle. And in lane 2, that's 3 from the bottom here, Ruben, Roboth and Keating of City of Manchester, gone off pretty quickly down this first 50 meters, Amy.
Yeah, one of our junior swimmers last year swam this event at the European Junior Championships, so looking pretty comfortable here. It's nice, I suppose, when you are a junior swimmer that you're not phased necessarily by some of those senior competitors that you're in the pool with, and I suppose it does set you in good stead for making that breakthrough from junior to senior swimming. But we've got lots of available competitions for them this year, and obviously we've also got the LEN under 23 championships, so some of those athletes that are maybe in that transition phase from being a junior to being a senior might get the opportunity to swim at that event. So it is a fantastic addition to the program, and we'll be sending, I have no doubt, a pretty strong team to that event in the summer. So it gives lots more people from lots of different age categories the opportunity to compete and maybe not be in that in-between transition bit where you can sometimes feel a little bit lost.
And we were listening to the British team management last night talking about it, and it's quite difficult, certainly for the senior swimmers, I think, this year to do much more than just the World Championships in the summer. But the juniors, there's an awful lot of junior events available. There is the Junior European Championships. There is this new under-23s European Championships, which I think is a great idea, because certainly from the men's side, there's that little gap. Trying to make the jump from the juniors to the seniors is really quite tough. There's also the World Junior Championships, which are in September. Really late. Surely that's too late in the programme.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tricky one in terms of where it is in the programme. It's not really where you'd want to be competing. So British Swim prioritising that European Juniors and that LEN under 23 event. Rightly so. But Luke Turley here, swimming pretty well this morning. Turns first there at the 200-metre mark. But it is a lot closer than we saw in the heat before. Obviously, Kieran Bird led that race from the beginning and commanded it, and then kind of took off the pace really and just slowed right down in that last 100 metres mark. But Luke Turley we have there in the centre of the pool, turns just ahead of Tyler Melbourne Smith, and William Bell hot on his heels. So 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of coming from those 4 centre lanes, as we'd expect in the last heat of this 400 freestyle.
Oh, swimming very well in the red hat. At the top of those 3 leaders is Tyler Melbourne Smith of the City of Liverpool, and the European Junior qualification age, swimmers born 2005 to 2009, and Tyler Melbourne Smith in lane number 6 is still of junior European age, so he can be selected for that European Junior Championships. Looks like he pushed that third 100 metres pretty hard. There are other swimmers now, Turley in 4, Bell in 5, starting to try and swim away from Melbourne Smith in 6, but they're not managing it at the moment, Amy.
No, when you're a junior swimmer, you sometimes feel like you've got nothing to lose. You know you've done lots and lots of training. You kind of have that confidence coming into a meet because you haven't maybe had the experiences of going away and not necessarily swimming as well. So as a junior swimmer here, to come from the European Juniors last year back to the British Championships to try and make that team again, you've probably got a little bit of confidence that you want to be up there with the fastest seeds in this last heat and having a really good swim. It is Tyler Melbourne Smith, but leading the way still just about into the wall, it is lane 4's Luke Turley from Bath Performance Centre. Had a lovely swim. Just about gets his hand on the wall there, ahead of Tyler Melbourne Smith. We say it's super important to get that finish, and I know these swimmers think that I've potentially already qualified and I can ease off, but you don't want to get into that bad habit of easing in too much to the wall, because if you do that in international meet, you're out and you've missed your opportunity. So really good swim there from Tyler Melbourne-Smith to get into that mix.
Yeah, and Amy, I have to say, William Bell, it's a little bit of a dangerous position to finish there, and third in your heat. Should be enough to make it through, but it's going to be tight, you know. Good from Turley, good from Melbourne-Smith, but third in a heat on a 400 freestyle. Always a little bit of a dangerous place to finish. Should be okay to make it through, but we'll just have to check and see. There are going to be a couple of swim-offs for the finals this evening at the end of this session. There'll be a swim-off for the A final of the women's 50 metres breaststroke, and then there'll also be a swim-off in the men's 50 backstroke for 8th place in the Priority Paris final. So 2 swim-offs at the end of this session, but at the end of the men's 400 metres freestyle. Next up, women's 400 medley. And 2 events still to go. This women's 400 medley, and then there'll be the men's 100 metres breaststroke, in which we've got our Commonwealth champion. What a swim that was in Birmingham. Fastest C, James Wilby, will be in the very final heat of that men's 100 metres breaststroke. So heat 3 of the women's 400 AM. Heats 1 and 2 will be this afternoon. Heat 3 of 8 of the women's 400 medley. Ella Bloxage of City of Salford goes in lane number 4. 2 Bloxage sisters in this women's 400 medley. Her sister going, I think, in heat 6 of 8 later on, certainly, in this women's 400 medley. But Ella having her time in the sun right now, right in the centre in lane number 4, and started off pretty well inside those yellow lane lines, turning in about 3rd position with a yellow hat.
Yeah, it's Madison Johnson there from Doncaster Darts, 31.12. So pretty quick first 50 of this women's 400 individual medley. 400 medley being my favourite event, the event that I was the best at, shall I say.
Whoa.
Not as in the best ever.
Well, but you said my favourite, and then you said that was the best. Did you? Was it actually your favourite event, or did you just do it grudgingly but really good at it?
When I was younger, I think I did it begrudgingly because I was okay at it. But as I got older, I learned to love the event. The training is really different, really varied. The kind of the way you can swim a 400 medley is so different to get the same outcome, which I really enjoyed. So being able to kind of study my race tactics, maybe what worked well, what didn't, I then turned into loving the event as well as it being my best. So that's why I kind of said it that way, because not everyone enjoys their best event, but for me, it was kind of the best of both worlds.
And let me just ask you, because you had some fantastic success, didn't you? I think you were, twice Olympic finalist in the women's 400 medley. Went to 3 Olympic Games. You won the Commonwealth Games on the 400 medley. Which was the most? Which event gave you the most pleasure? Which performance gave you the most pleasure? Was it being in an Olympic final, obviously the pinnacle in a swimming pool, being in an Olympic final, or was it to win the Commonwealth Games gold?
I think winning the Commonwealth Games for me was probably my career highlight. I think because it came so late in my career. I'd been to 3 Commonwealths and then won the gold at the 3rd one. I'd been to a couple of Olympics and maybe just been a little bit shy off what I wanted to achieve there. So when it all kind of unfolded at the right time, it played out to be the perfect swim on the day. Not necessarily my best time, but it was enough and it was right to win that event. It kind of meant that for me is one of those special swims.
Well, it was certainly a great pleasure to commentate on, I have to say. And now you're still the English record holder on the short course and long course 400 medley, I think. What, did you set the English record when you won the Commonwealth Games? Was that your fastest swim ever, or was that Olympics?
No, so I set the English record at the Commonwealth Games in 2014. So that was my personal best, and I didn't get as close to that for the rest of my career. So a lot of the time when swimmers think that they're way off their personal best times, sometimes it's just about swimming the perfect race on the day and it being enough to be what you want it to be. So a lot of the time we maybe get hung up, especially as we get older, on the time and it not being the time we want. But if you've learned something from that race, if you can take a lot of positives from it, then it was still a good race, and it's all part of that learning experience all the time.
Well, certainly from a learning experience here, Darcy Crossley swimming very well from the city of Leeds, born in 2008. So she will be eligible to be considered for the European Juniors, but so many junior events being selected from this championships this summer. I think there's maybe 5 junior events where Great Britain will be sending teams, so plenty of opportunity to make a team, not only for the swimmers, but interestingly, they're also talking an awful lot about coaching development as well as swimmer development. So important for Great Britain to make sure that the coaches also get the great experience of the British teams.
Yeah, definitely. We have some obviously amazing junior swimmers in the pool, so we want to nurture those coaches, and British Swimming want to develop them as well, so that as the swimmers progress, the coaches progress, and they have that opportunity to do so.
So Darcy Crossley of Leeds leading, but having a crack at her is Ella Bloxage of City of Salford. The 2 yellow hats. Closest to us is Darcy Crossley of Leeds, and with 50 metres to go, she's looking strong on this freestyle leg. Bloxage will have a go at it down this last 50, and then in third place at the moment is Laura Sharp of Swansea University. But Darcy Crossley looking very strong. Is Bloxage going to catch her?
It requires a lot of leg kick down this last 50 metres of 400 individual medley. To catch that swimmer in front, it hurts. You've swam nearly 400 metres of a 400 medley, which is not an easy feat, but having a really good go down this last 10 metres, it is the City of Salford swimmer in lane 4. Ella Bloxage proving me totally wrong as she finishes first there. Awesome leg kick, awesome finish. To finish 5:05.5. So ahead of Darcy there from the City of Leeds. And rightly so, chuffed with that swim, tired, but with a massive smile on her face.
Well done. Gracious me, another lifetime best winning the heats here at the British Championships in Sheffield's Ponds Forge Arena. Well, from an Olympian, a double Olympic finalist in the 400 medley to young Ella Bloxage, that, Amy, looked pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, all these swimmers swam that 400 medley in totally different ways, and that's what we see quite often, which is why I really enjoyed that event. So Ella there, who came through to finish first, wasn't in the mix really on that last length and had a phenomenal freestyle leg, finished really strong and finishes first in our third heat.
It's a great start for the Bloxage family. Her sister, as we said earlier, is in heat number 7 in this women's 400 medley. So the 2 sisters got a cracking chance to do lifetime bests at the British Championships and really impress. And well, leg 1's done already. Have to wait a little bit for the second of the Bloxage sisters, who will be in lane number 7 of heat 7. That's Emily. So this is heat 4 of 8 heats of the women's 400 medley. No swimmer in lane number 1, lane 0 closest to us, so Abby Roscoe of Wirral is withdrawn, but Kira Noon is closest to us of City of Bristol. Kira got out pretty quickly, first or second to turn down that first 50 metres, just first, 30.59 from Kira Noon of Bristol.
Yeah, slightly quicker than that heat before. We see a lot of sort of changing of lead and changing of position in the women's 400 medley. Obviously, we saw that in the heat before, but those swimmers that are probably strong butterfly swimmers are the swimmers that are leading the way currently. But you can't kind of write off and forget about the swimmers that are just behind, because the backstroke leg and the breaststroke in particular are kind of really strong bits and important bits of the 400 medley, and that's when the lead could change massively from a swimmer being maybe 6th or 7th to maybe coming through and being 2nd or 3rd. And that's what's so exciting about the 400 individual medley, and that's why it's so important to either get it right and use your strengths, but not waste all your energy on your strengths.
Amy, if you've got a really good fly, if your fly is one of your best strokes, but of course it comes right at the start, do you want to push the fly to try and really use and abuse the privilege of having such a good butterfly, or do you want to sort of try and go easy because you've still got 100 back, 100 breast and 100 free to go? I mean, it's a brutal start, isn't it? But if you've got a good fly, what do you do?
For me, it was use your strength, but use it to the point where you're not over, it sounds silly, but you're not overusing it, so you're not being fatigued from swimming that 100 fly. So I was a pretty good fly swimmer individually, but at the start of the 400 IM, if I went too fast, it would just kill me for the rest of it. So it's about getting that balance right of using your strengths, but not going all in and just your strength and then hoping that it'll carry you through the rest. You've got to weigh up the energy expenditure and the balance of that. But at the top of the field here, top of the pool and the top of the screen, having a fantastic fly leg, now having a brilliant backstroke leg, it is Matilda Bogle, 2:21.62. So that's pretty quick for the first 200. So I'm going to guess that her strengths lie in the butterfly and the backstroke. So she might get caught in this breaststroke and freestyle, and that's where the rest of these swimmers have got to kind of ignore the fact that she's so far ahead and concentrate on building through the breaststroke, working on that freestyle, and kind of bringing the race together towards the end.
Well, this, of course, an event that the world record has recently been broken, and I have to say I didn't expect to say that, certainly not at this time of the year in April. And I think it was actually at the end of March that it was done over at the Canadian Trials, wasn't it? Which was just an extraordinary swim from Summer McIntosh. Was it 4:25?
Yeah, 4:25, and that's why I say one of those things. Oh, don't necessarily use all your strengths, but she's a phenomenal butterfly swimmer individually. Went out fantastic in the start of that race, swam really quick. Then the backstroke, she just continued. Breaststroke, not her best. There was a massive gap, really, in when you think about what she split on the other three legs and not on the breaststroke. But because she's so strong at the rest, she kind of hides her weakness in the middle on that breaststroke. But usually you can't really get away with that. But because she is so strong at the other three, to the point where she's world leading in the butterfly, the freestyle, that she can afford to kind of give a bit more and just kind of shelter the breaststroke leg.
Yeah, she's not too bad, is she? She just broke the world record on the 400 freestyle as well, 3:56, I think it was, 0, something like that. Also broke the world junior record 200 fly. Also broke the world junior record 200 freestyle, so she's not bad.
No, definitely not bad. I think if I had a freestyle that was that quick, I probably would have gone out like a rocket on the butterfly as well, knowing I've got that to fall back on, even if I am tired at the end of the race. And still swimming really well. It is Matilda Bogle at the top of the pool. She had that fantastic opening 200. Didn't really get caught very much on the breaststroke, and she looks still pretty comfortable on the freestyle. So she looks like she's going to do a massive PB, which is always really exciting to come to an event, especially in the 400 medley, and see a nice PB on the board when it is such a difficult event. But the rest of the swimmers kind of behind them, having their own race with the scoreboard.
Well, a lifetime best 5:01.0. She's going to be right around that. I think she's just going to duck under 5 minutes, which is a massive milestone on a 400 medley. I'll ask you in a minute, Amy, if you remember first doing that yourself, but she is going to make it under 5 minutes, and that's a great swim. Well done, Matilda Bogle of Team Ipswich Swimming. 4:58.4, well, 1.6 seconds underneath that 5-minute barrier. And you've got to be delighted that first time under 5 minutes, haven't you?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. It was a long time ago now, my first swim under 5 minutes. But yeah, the smile on your face kind of proves that when it's tough, when it's challenging, and you can get in the race and swim really well and break that little barrier of 5 minutes, it kind of makes all the pain of swimming 400 medley worth it. And a brilliant swim for her. She did it all on her own, out in front for the entire race. So yeah, really, really good swim there from Matilda Bogle.
Well, the first 4 swimmers, new lifetime best. That's very, very impressive indeed. So Bogle wins it. Hazelyn Carter second. Third was Inez Raymond Beetham of Camden. So heat 5 now on the blocks. Heat 5 of 8 heats of this women's 400 medley. Fairly rattling through the program this morning. They really are. It's not even 11 o'clock yet, and we're almost finished the second last event. It is the women's 400 medley. 4 heats left. This heat 5 of 8 heats of the women's 400 medley, and Anna Farrow of City of Leicester, right in the centre, started very well in lane number 4. The closest to us of those 2 yellow lane lines in the centre. Also going well is Lacey Roberts of Plymouth up there in lane 8, 1 lane from the top. But the first 35 metres or so from Anna Farrow of Leicester looks comfortable, but looks very strong on this fly leg.
Yeah, the first 50 metres, you want to be thinking about that kind of easy speed, getting in around those walls nice and quick, not wasting too much energy, but definitely thinking, well, trying not to think too much about what you've got, but using that nicely.
Tell me about easy speeding, because it's almost it's almost an oxymoron, isn't it? It's sort of how could you do easy and also fast?
You want to kind of be in a position where you can get out nice and strong, but you're using the start. You've used the underwater work and that momentum to kind of come up and then into the stroke, carry that. So it's basically going as fast as you can, but as comfortable as you can by not over-revving it, not putting lots of aggression in and just kind of going through the motions, but in a strong physical manner, if that makes any sense at all.
I have to say, I used to work as hard as I possibly could to get easy speed. Certainly on 100 meters, that first 25, so important not to work too hard, but also be super quick. And I think watching these women on the 400 medley, certainly on the butterfly leg, and watching you when you used to do it, easy speed, so important on the fly. What about, we've talked about the butterfly leg if you've got a good fly. What about backstroke now? Because you've done 100 fly, you're into the race already. How do you use the backstroke leg of a 400 medley, thinking about the fact that the breaststroke, a real leg stroke, is coming next?
It's quite easy to think of the backstroke as a bit of a rest. Sometimes you can get off the butterfly, obviously you then come on your back, you've got a little bit of time to breathe, and you can kind of think, oh, I might just have a bit of a rest now because I've still got 200 meters afterwards. But for me, the backstroke's one of the super important splits of the race, because if you really work on it, like Anna is here in the center of the pool, you can take a bigger chunk out of your competitors without you really doing much else. So Anna working the backstroke here, using that to advantage after the butterfly, not kind of having too much of a rest, and as we see now in 2:24.01, so 2 seconds quicker than Matilda was in the heat before, so another strong butterfly and backstroke swimmer.
Looks like she's got a decent breaststroke, but the bit that always used to scare me on the medleys was the breaststroke leg on it. Without blowing too much smoke up my own performances, so to speak, I had British records on fly back and free, but my breaststroke was so bad, Amy. When I say so bad, I mean so bad. I just couldn't do it. And I'll tell you a very, very quick story. I used to train at Arizona State University in America. We had 6 coaches, one of which was a stroke coach, a wonderful guy called David Stacey. And because my fly back and free were really quite good, they said, we're going to give you one-on-one stroke technique lessons for a week on breaststroke. And at the end of that, hopefully your breaststroke will be really good, and then you'll crush the medley. I went slower. I was so disappointed at myself. I went slower at the end of the week. I just simply couldn't do it. I could not do it. I tried so hard, and I was absolutely rubbish at breaststroke. Fly was fine, backstroke's fine, freestyle, British records, all those. Breaststroke, no.
It is a very technical stroke. I think sometimes you think, oh, I need to over-rev and over-rate, and you increase that rate, but you go slower or you don't go any faster, so you waste more energy by not getting anywhere. And we see a lot of the time in medley swimming, a lot of these girls, and especially these girls in the pool, have got nice long breaststroke strokes where you're holding the water. Molly Renshaw was a fantastic example of that in the 200 breaststroke, holding that stroke so that you're keeping hold of that momentum for the freestyle leg, especially in the medley. And Anna there didn't lose any pace in that breaststroke, had a really good split, and she still looks really strong down this freestyle. So another fantastic way to swim a 400 medley. We've got lane 0, Holly Robinson there from Repton School, had a really good breaststroke leg there, got herself back in the mix, really now working this freestyle. So that's where it's super important to think, I'm out in front, but if I'm not the best freestyle swimmer and somebody is that we saw earlier, that lead just totally changed. So Holly having a great swim here.
Well, European qualification for European juniors has just changed for the women, and they've now made it equal to the men. So you can be born 2005 to 2009, and both these leaders, both born in 2005, so both eligible to be selected for the British team for that European Junior Championships this year. And 4:58.2 wins it from Holly Robinson of Repton. Massive lifetime best again from her, another 6-second lifetime best. Great swim from Holly. Second was Anna Farrow, and both of those swimmers sub 5 minutes, 4:59.61, so another lifetime best, certainly for the first 2 swimmers, and probably, who knows, haven't checked the rest of them.
Yeah, Holly looks like she can't quite believe the fact that she swam so well there, but it is nice, as you say, to turn around and see a PB on the scoreboard. Break that 5-minute mark for both Anna and Holly is a really good swim from them here this morning. Not nowhere near each other in the pool, so kind of swimming that last little bit almost on their own and digging in, using everything they've got left, and both finishing there, 4:58 and 4:59. So fantastic swimming.
Well, Evangeline Belt as well from Plymouth, which should shout her out, another lifetime best, finishing in third for her. So well done, the first three there. This is heat 6 of 8 now of the women's 400 medley. Megan Byrne in 5, Holly Marshall in 4 from Repton. Eleanor Broughton again from Repton in 3. So heat 6 of the women's 400 metres individual medley.
Starting to get a little bit faster now, these girls. We've got Holly Marshall in the centre of the pool, and they're in lane 4. But off to a really good start. It was not Ella Bainbridge, Caitlin Cotter in lane 1. It's lovely underwater work, 30.79, so pretty fast opening 50 there in this 400 individual medley.
Nice flowing butterfly stroke down here in lane number 1. 0 closest to us is Katie Lee of Salford. Then in 1 is Kate Cotter of Chelmsford City. And it does look quite flowing, breathing every 2 strokes and then every 1 stroke, keeping her body as flat as she possibly can. And coming into the 100-metre turn, it looks like it is going to be Cotter first to turn from Chelmsford in the lane number 1, possibly in 4. Holly Marshall of Repton second.
Yeah, looks like that second 50 of the butterfly there hurt a little bit more than the first, and I guess it's all about getting that balance right in the 400 medley. But in the centre of the pool there, looking really comfortable, kind of edging away already on this backstroke split. It is lane number 4, Holly Marshall from Repton. As we say, she's got that lovely long stroke. She's got a super still head position and kind of using that rhythm of the backstroke to just gradually improve and tick away from the rest of her competitors.
Amy, just look at her feet, because she does seem to be using her feet quite a lot. She's really making the water boil. It's almost like a sprint backstroke stroke. It's interesting to see how much she is using her feet on her legs on this backstroke leg, because the breaststroke leg coming up is really leg heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, if I'm correct in thinking, I'm pretty sure Holly Marshall's a pretty good backstroke swimmer, so she must be using that to her advantage in this 400 medley. Hopefully it doesn't cost her too much for the other strokes, but she looks really comfortable here, and she's took out 2-3 metres from the rest of the field.
And just watch the turn as well, because we've seen quite a few open turns. Ooh, a little bit of a touch there, but there used to be a real crossover turn and sort of do almost like a tumble turn, but it seems now a lot more there's the open turn where you get a big old breath on the turn as you turn around on the back to breast.
I think a lot of it is a confidence thing, and it's obviously very difficult to teach and learn. So if you don't do it when you're younger and then obviously transfer it into the British Championships, for me, when I was learning it, I wasn't very brave the first couple of times when I raced, because I didn't want to get disqualified for getting the crossover turn wrong. So it is a hard skill to master, and I think if you're a 10, 11-year-old coming into swimming medley, you really want to think about trying to learn that as early as you can, practicing it in competitions so that when you get to the British Champs, you've got the confidence that you just automatically do it and you don't have to panic and fluster and worry about it. Because definitely for me, the first couple of times I kind of gave in, and then it was, right, if you don't do it at this competition, that's it. You're in trouble. So I just had to go for it, and once you kind of are brave enough and do it, then it just becomes that automatic skill. But it is so much faster than the touch turn, where you've got that big breath and you kind of come right around the wall.
Yeah, but you get a massive breath and it does feel nice.
It does, but it's very slow, Andy.
Yeah, but it feels nice. No, I know what you mean. Certainly watching the big internationals, you do get an awful lot more of the crossover turn, and done well. It's very quick indeed. The two Repton swimmers in lanes 3 and 4. First to turn with 100 metres to go in this heat 6 of 8 of the women's 400 medley. First to turn was Eleanor Broughton of Repton, Holly Marshall second, and third Susie McNair in lane number 2. And these three, they do look pretty strong going into this last 100 metres, and there's some good freestyle going on, and quite a scrap now for 1, 2 and 3. Also coming back pretty well up there in lane number 5 is Megan Byrne of University of Bath.
Yeah, Eleanor there had a really good breaststroke split. Obviously really strong down the second 50 in particular. She caught up Holly there quite a bit on that second leg, and she's just edging out in front here, holding that lead. Not much in it though, only 0.3 there at the turn from first and second, so the battle is on in this 400 medley into the finish. As we said, lane 3 as well coming into that, lane 4, lane 5, all the action in the centre of the pool. And swimming well it is. Susie McNair, a sterling swimmer, having a brilliant freestyle split here. Nice and long, but she's using them legs. Powers through the rest of the girls, and it is going to be lane 2, 4:58.09. So another brilliant swim, another swimmer sub 5 minutes. In fact, 4 swimmers in that heat there were all sub 5 minutes. So a really, really competitive heat as we come into the final 2.
Well, that's a cracking heat, it really was. And Susie McNair winning. Well, she's of European junior age, so she could go. As I think certainly the first 3 were, maybe the first 4 as well. That's impressive. Holly Marshall, yes. Megan Byrne are just outside of European junior age, but certainly 3 of the first 4 can be selected for the British team for that European juniors. So heats 7 and 8 to come in this women's 400 medley. And Freya Colbert, well, she did not swim the 200 metres freestyle. She decided to focus on this, the 400 medley. She is the fastest seed in this second last heat. Second fastest seed coming into these championships, with Katie Shanahan of Stirling going in lane 4 in the final heat in the next heat. Colbert in 4, Schlossen in 5. Well, it'll be fascinating to see how she swims this one, Freya Colbert, because she's a really good 200 metres freestyle swimmer, and of course was on that 4x2 free relay at the European Championships that I think got a silver on that 4x2, and with Great Britain really focusing on the women's 4x100 and the 4x200 at the moment, possibly 5 or 6 spots available should they choose that relay. So interesting, she decided not to swim in the 200 metres freestyle, where they may choose the first 4, 5, 6 swimmers, and she's gone into this 200 medley where they'll maybe choose 1 or 2.
Yeah, I suppose though, if you're in the 400 medley and you swim well and you're on the team, then British Swimming have the option to pick you for one of those relays, obviously knowing how strong you are. So it would be a tough double to swim the 400 medley and the 200 freestyle and do both of them well. I suppose if the 200 freestyle, is a little bit more competitive, you might be thinking, right, this year I'm going to focus a bit more on the 400 medley, see what I've got there. And we know Freya is a really good 400 medley swimmer. She's been on the podium at the British Championships before, so she's got the option to do both at the senior competitions, but maybe the programme here at the British Championships doesn't quite fit for her.
Looked like about 5 butterfly kicks underwater on that butterfly to backstroke turn. And she certainly made up maybe about half a metre, 3/4 of a metre off the rest of the field. Going underwater, I mean, a little bit of oxygen debt after that butterfly leg to then go quite a long way underwater on the backstroke. Interesting decision, but certainly worked for her.
Yeah, that's one of the toughest skills, I think, actually, in a 400 medley, is to get off the butterfly, almost hold that breath and do 4 or 5 kicks. For me, it was really tough, and it was something that I had to really work on. But if you can carry the momentum around the walls rather than kind of hit the wall on the fly, stop, then start on the backstroke, stop, start on the breaststroke, it then makes the 400 medley really difficult. So to be able to nail that, and it's super hard, so training, practice is massively important. But when you get to the race and you can use it and nail it, Freya, as we see there, popped straight up on the backstroke and was already ahead and commanding the race even further now into this back to breaststroke turn. So we should see Freya, with that crossover turn. So as we see those more senior international swimmers who maybe are more of the medley base and have practiced that a long time, they've used that, and it does make a massive difference. That momentum she's carried from the backstroke to the breaststroke, and she's pulling even further ahead now down this breaststroke split.
Well, that was fascinating, wasn't it? It was very well executed. Back to breast turn from Freya Colbert, the fastest seed in this heat 7, and the second fastest seed in the British Championships, with Katie Shanahan, of course, Scotland's wonderful Commonwealth medal winning swimmer, is the fastest seed going in the final heat. Really looking forward to seeing her on this 400 medley in the next heat, but also her 200 backstroke. She looks like she's on fire on the 200 backstroke at the moment. But she's in the next one. Certainly here, Freya Colbert down this first, whatever it is, 250 metres. 100 fly, 100 back, and then the first 75 metres now with the breaststroke leg. She looks very comfortable indeed. She's pushing it a little bit harder than I expected. She could ease off right here, Amy, but she looks like she's really pushing it with 100 free to go, a real strength of hers.
Yeah, sometimes it's really difficult to come in the morning and swim almost too slow. There's only so much you can improve from the heats to the finals, so you don't want to give yourself too big a jump, especially if Freya wants to get one of those consideration times tonight. So she's pushing a little bit here this morning, maybe blowing out some of them cobwebs, because you can't really replicate swimming a 400 IM in training very, very easily because it is so hard. So she's getting that race practice in this morning to give her the best chance that when she comes in tonight, she can go a little bit faster. But we expected her to be quite far ahead in this event. We expected her to have that really strong freestyle. So she looks really comfortable here, and maybe she's just ticking through the motions on this last 100, having done the work at the beginning of the race.
Well, the automatic qualification time is very quick at 4:36, but 4:37.9 is the consideration time this evening. Her lifetime best is 4:39.8, so she's got to go a 2-second lifetime best this evening and come first or second to be considered for a place at the World Championships later on this year. In fact, at the end of July, it is in Fukuoka in Japan. Eased off quite a lot down this last 100 metres, Freya Colbert. Coming back quickly was Leah Schlossen of Leeds, and winning in 4:47.9. But that last 100, well, she really took her foot off the gas and just eased into that last 100 metres of freestyle. Impressive, though. Good technical skills. Decent fly, very nice backstroke, beautiful backstroke to breaststroke turn, worked that breaststroke leg and then just eased off in the freestyle. Impressive?
Yeah, we expected probably that after the first 300 metres. Not being tough, but putting in a little bit of effort just to kind of tick through the motions and the freestyle. And Freya looks pretty comfortable there. So obviously quite a way off her best, but to swim 4:47, be ahead of the field. And Leah Schlossen there had a fantastic freestyle split. One of the junior swimmers we'll be expecting to see in one of those A or B finals, probably this afternoon. So yeah, 4:50.02 for second.
And the second of the Bloxage sisters there coming fourth. That was Emily Bloxage up in lane number 7. Swam well, right on her lifetime best. I think it was a lifetime best for her, very good indeed. Just 14 years of age. In fact, I think she's still 13. Is that possible? May well be. I'll check the age of Emily Bloxage, but great swimming yet again, and both sisters swimming really well on this 400 medley. The final heat of this women's 400 metres individual medley, right in the centre, Katie Shanahan of University of Stirling, and I still remember her coming out of that Commonwealth Games in Birmingham last year on that 200 backstroke. It was just a joy to watch her reaction and a joy to see how quickly she swam and how she reacted to the performance, which was utterly brilliant.
Yeah, she had a really good summer last year, did Katie. This year moved to the University of Stirling, and she swam a fantastic 400 individual medley at the Commonwealths, winning medals in that and the 200 backstroke. So she is a really strong backstroke swimmer, which we will see on the next 100 here, but also got a lovely butterfly, just one of those swimmers that's got 4 pretty good strokes, which is exactly what you want in a 400 medley.
Breathing pattern, she seems to do 2 or 3 strokes with the head up and then a stroke with the head down. See how she goes into this turn. Pretty decent. Knees up quite quick, nice tight tuck, really good spin round from fly to backstroke. Well, look at that. She's used about 11 metres underwater. That's the furthest we've seen so far of all the swimmers in the heat to the women's 400 medley.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult to do that, but I know being from the University of Stirling, Stephen Tigg was one to kind of drill that in me, head back, hold that underwater. So Katie's a phenomenal backstroke swimmer, so she's got even more of that to use in this 400 medley.
Amy, look at your face when you're saying Steve Tigg drilled that into me. That was hilarious. I'm guessing there was quite a lot of drilling going on, but so important. And, you know, Steve Tigg is one of the greatest coaches in the world at the moment. I mean, he's just absolutely outstanding from Stirling, and he's such a stickler for the details and making sure that you learn them and get them right. And you've been on the receiving end of quite a lot of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially as you become older and you're not necessarily taking massive chunks off your PB, you're just looking for little bits here and point there. They're the really important things, because you can't train any harder, you can't work any harder, so you're just really hoping that you can keep that edge here or work on this tiny bit, and there's always something that you're looking at. So Katie coming into the back to breast turn, another example of that crossover turn. We've also got lane 5, Amber Keegan, going pretty well in this 400 medley as well. She's a really strong medley and distance freestyle swimmer, so we expect to see both Katie and Amber having a really strong last leg of this race. But Katie here on that breaststroke, lovely long stroke, just gliding at the front, squeezing legs together, hands together, really maximising the length of each breaststroke kick.
It's an extraordinary length of stroke as well, isn't it? I was talking to Dave Hemmings, the coach at the Loughborough Performance Centre, about breaststroke, and of course he's got Abby Wood and wonderful Molly Renshaw, the two brilliant women breaststrokers, and he was just saying try and keep it really efficient and don't have anything sticking out, nothing to slow you down. Almost swim like you're in a bit of a wind tunnel, so you don't have anything speed bump sticking out. It reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think when we're younger, we're taught synonymously to have that really wide breaststroke kick, but the stronger you are, the narrower you can bring that in. And Katie is a really strong swimmer, so she's got the ability to keep those knees a little bit tighter underneath her, kick them round and kind of pop those hips up. I definitely had a little bit of a wider kick because that was the way I swam breaststroke, but it was a really good to see her get that nice tight knees, and she's just had a lovely breaststroke split there. Took a little bit out of Amber, and as we thought she might, having 4 very strong strokes and looking really comfortable in this freestyle leg now.
Well, she split about 3:40. We didn't see the clock stop, but she split about 3:40, which was about the same as Freya Colbert in the previous heat. And we saw Freya Colbert really turn the gas down on this last 100 metres and really save herself. It looks like Shanahan working reasonably well still. No kick off the wall, breathe straight off the wall. So I'm guessing she's toning it down a little bit as well down this last 100.
Yeah, it looks like it. Katie has got a really good freestyle leg kick, so she's not really using that here this morning, just saving that. She's obviously seen the time that Freya's posted. There's not much competition from the rest of the field, so it looks like tonight it will be a Freya kind of Katie showdown. So both of them just doing what they need to do this morning to make it through tonight with kind of as least energy expenditure.
So 4:46, fastest after the heats is Katie Shanahan, Great Britain's fastest seed and British #1 this year on the 400 medley. Keegan coming in second, and those two quite a way ahead of the rest of the field. Glenister third. Job done, I think.
Yeah, I suppose in the 400 medley is quite a tough one. We sometimes see, and especially with a lot of events, we see some years we have a really dense kind of field at the top. Some years there's just 1 or 2 standout swimmers. So the difference between the men's 400 freestyle and the women's 400 medley was that exactly. So it looks like tonight it will be that showdown between Katie, Freya and the scoreboard to see what they can do, see if they can get close to those consideration times to be on the team. So that 4:37.9, they've got a little bit of a chunk, but it's not impossible for them both to come back tonight and drop 5 or 6 seconds, knowing that they didn't have to push it super hard this morning.
Well, 5 or 6 seconds, you say, shouldn't be too hard. She's actually got to drop 8 seconds to make the consideration time. It's a heck of a drop. It certainly is possible. I mean, her lifetime best 4:39.3. 4:37.9 is the consideration time. So she's got to be, what, about 1.4 seconds inside her lifetime best just to make the British team's consideration time. That's a tough qualification standard, isn't it, for that women's 400 medley? But British team decided they don't want any, what we used to call trippers, people just going on the trip just for the fun, get the tracksuit, go and have a laugh. They actually want proper, serious guys. I'm a fan of it. You too?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen that change massively in British swimming over the last 10 years of athletes wanting to be there and wanting to swim well, not only for themselves, but also the team. And that's why British swimming have been so successful the last couple of years. And fingers crossed it carries on this summer and into Paris next year.
Men's 100 breaststroke. So 8 heats of the men's 100 metres breaststroke, but we will see heats 3 to 8 in this session. Heats 1 and 2, the slowest 2 heats will go in an afternoon session. They've tried to restrict the number of swimmers in this morning session to 6 heats per event, so we'll be seeing 6 men's 100 metres breaststrokers. And in lane number 5 at the moment, it's Andrew Arthur of University of Stirling with Gordon Lee in lane 6, probably just leading it. Lee in 6 from Arthur in 5 maybe, but the rest of the field starting to charge.
Yeah, already we can see a lot of difference here between the women's breaststroke in the medley and the men's 100 metre breaststroke. The stroke rate is a lot higher. These boys are kind of charging, all their energy is going over the top and forwards. So in 100 metres breaststroke in particular, obviously we've seen Adam Peaty kind of lead the way for so many years, and everybody in Britain wants to be a phenomenal breaststroke swimmer, which is why we've got such a stacked field, and we've got a couple of those sessions a little bit later on today.
So Andrew Arthur, the University of Stirling student, is just going to win the heat 3, the first heat that we've seen so far, 64.4. Well, that's 1.1 seconds inside of his lifetime best, and he's delighted. Good man. Well done. 1.1 seconds inside your lifetime best on 100, Amy.
Yeah, it's really good to see that. And at the University of Stirling, coached by Martin Walton, so he was actually competing last year and has now turned his hand to coaching. So it's nice to see the swimmers yet again in this 100 breaststroke stepping up to the block, swimming pretty quick, and all 3 of those boys there under 65 seconds and season's best, personal best across the board.
Should also shout out there to Vadim Bosk of Mount Kelly. Massive lifetime best for him up in lane number 9 on the outside. A super swim from him, very good indeed, coming in second. So that was heat 3. This is heat 4 of 8 heats of the men's 100 breaststroke. And Mackenzie Cannon of Loughborough University in 4, the fastest seed. So heat 4 of 8 of the men's 100 metres breaststroke. Decent start in lane number 4 from Mackenzie Cannon of Loughborough University. Also a decent start in lane 7 was Reese Taylor, also of Loughborough, and the 2 Loughborough students looking pretty good at the moment in 4 and 7.
Yeah, in breaststroke in particular, it's really important to get the momentum from that start. You've obviously got the glide phase, that butterfly kick, that really big pull down before you break the surface. So if you can do all those steps and carry that momentum up into the stroke and into the breakout, you set yourself in good stead for the rhythm of the breaststroke to carry on. And these boys really using that to their advantage. Up at the top of the screen in lane 7, it is Reese Taylor from Loughborough Uni. Still charging ahead down this second 50. A little bit more aggression in his stroke than maybe some of the other swimmers, but working really well for him.
Well, it's a fascinating stroke. I mean, breathing a little bit to his right, the rest of the field just starting to come back at him, but looks like he's going to get the touch here in heat 4 of the men's 100 breaststroke. Reese Taylor does win it, 63.2. He's just done a 2-second lifetime best. Well, I know I keep on banging on about it, but when you come to the British Championships, you really want to swim well, and it's seconds, or here, 2 seconds on 100 metres breaststroke, a new lifetime best. It's amazing.
Yeah, especially in some of the shorter distances, you don't often see 1 or 2 second PBs. You're looking for 0.1 here, or sometimes even 0.0 here. So to see swimmers come in here and drop in 2 seconds is a massive achievement, and it's really positive for the state of British swimming.
That's enormously impressive, I've got to say. If I did a 2-second lifetime best on 100, I'd be dancing back down the side of the pool. Brilliant. Heat 5, men's 100 breaststroke. Rafe Dobson of Stirling in 4, the fastest seed. So the 2 yellow lanes in the centre, lanes 4 and 5, denote the fastest 2 seeds in this heat 5 of the men's 100 metres breaststroke. Good start though down in lane number 1, one from the bottom, the red hat of the Chesterfield Swimming Club swimmer Jack Blair. Jack gone off well.
Yeah, it's a lot kind of higher stroke rate than some of the some of the swimmers in the rest of the field. We tend to see that, as we say, a lot more in men's breaststroke in particular. They have more power. They may be doing a slightly smaller kick at the back, so a lot of the power comes from getting underneath with their elbows, coming around and holding that water. So in order to do that, you have to be really strong through those lat muscles, those shoulders, but also have that really small whip kick at the back. And Adam Peaty, as we said, does that so well, and a lot of these swimmers watch the best in the world, and that's how it's done at the moment.
Luke Ibbison in lane number 3 from Loughborough University, going well down this second 50, really paced it well right at the bottom, as well as Yuen of Birmingham. And who got the touch? It looks like, well, I think it was Ibsen of Loughborough, was it? Just getting the touch, 63.60. Another 1.1 second lifetime best for the winner.
Yeah, another smile there on his face. As you say, paced that really well. Use the second 50 to really build up, hold all that water, and carry that all the way into the finish. And that bit, when it gets tired in that last 25, is the bit that's really important, to hold your technique, hold your stroke, and not kind of get sloppy and slip. And that's what why training is so important, because those are the things you want to really nail, so that when you get to racing and you're under pressure, those race skills you just do automatically.
So very quickly through to the fastest 3 seats, the fastest 30 swimmers in Great Britain in the men's 100 metres breaststroke now in the pool. This is heat 6 of 8. Goodburn of Edinburgh, the fastest seed in 4. Kyle Booth of Cardiff in 5. George Smith of Stirling in 6. Ross Young in 3. Those are the fastest 4 swimmers seeded into this, the first of the seeded heats of the men's 100 metres breaststroke, and a very good start indeed in lane number 4, Archie Goodburn. Well, look at that. If you stop the race now, he's won it by about half a second. Yeah, he was really, really quick off the block as well. Really quick reaction time, and you could see him in that glide phase with his arms by his side, super squeezed in, super tight, and he was travelling so fast. So he's obviously worked on that, and he's nailed it, and way ahead down the first 50, 28.13, almost a second up from the rest of the field. So massively uses that to his advantage, and when you're out that far in front, you only feel good, and you just keep going and going and going. He looks really strong down this second 50 as well, and he had a great start, nice easy speed to about 30 metres, built it into the wall, and this is a very impressive swim. He's not going to be too far away from 60 seconds here, you know, and that'll be a wonderful swim. Lifetime best 60.70. He's just going to be outside it. Oh, what has he gone? He's gone 60.35. A new lifetime best, a thumbs up. And I've got to tell you, I thought he was going to be under 60. It was so close. I'm sure he can have a crack at that 60-second barrier tonight. But Amy Wilmot, that was really impressive from Goodburn of Edinburgh. Yeah, really good swim from him. Was at the Commonwealth Games last summer. Since then, obviously, Ross Murdoch and Craig Benson have retired. So Archie Goodburn is the next kind of Scottish 100 metres breaststroke swimmer, looking for those relays in maybe a couple of years' time. So to swim 60.3. A 0.35 personal best, and really good swim. As we said, it looked so technically good, so strong, comfortable, and he commanded that whole race. Really, really positive. So a fantastic swim from him. Wow, I think the other guys, there'll be a little bit of butterflies flying around in the stomachs watching a swim of that quality from Goodburn in the morning. Very impressive. This is heat 7, second last heat of the men's 100 breaststroke. And Greg Butler of Loughborough University in 4, Elliot Woodburn in 5 from Millfield School, and 3 is Matt Rogers. And a decent start in lane number 4 from the fastest seed, that is Greg Butler of Loughborough University. Yeah, Loughborough Performance Centre there have some amazing swimmers. So Greg Butler there training alongside Mel at that centre. So he's got obviously a great programme around him. Swimming fantastic there, 28.27, super quick down that first 50. I'm pretty sure that's slightly quicker than we had in the heat before, so I'm not sure what his 50 PB is, but he can't be far off that. Well, but he looks very strong. Sorry, I mean, he looks very strong down the second 50 as well, and he's working hard, certainly working hard, so he's not easing up. He's just seen Goodburn go very quickly in the first of the seeded heats. Is he going to go sub 60 here? His lifetime best 60.04. Wouldn't it be wonderful to go underneath it in the heats, and then he can just really relax and go for it in the final? The time, 60.50, so just 46 100ths of a second outside of his lifetime best. It was a very good, solid swim. Looked like he was trying very hard. I wonder if he can maybe ease it up a little bit, maybe not try quite as hard, and maybe just concentrate a little bit more on the flow and the speed.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're a little bit nervous, and especially in breaststroke, it's so easy to kind of get a little bit tight and a little bit tense and slip a tiny bit of water. But 60.5 is still a really good swim from him this morning. So if he can go back, rest, come back tonight, and obviously it looks like so far the battle will be between him and Archie Goodburn. But we've got James Wilby coming up in this last heat. He'll be in lane 4 in the centre of the pool. He is our reigning Commonwealth champion from Birmingham last summer, where he had a fantastic swim.
He really did. This is the final heat of the men's 100 metres breaststroke. We should say that Adam Peaty has withdrawn from the meet. He's just going to look after himself for the rest of this year, make sure that his mental health is as strong as he can. He's been very brave coming out and saying, I'm just going to take the year off and make sure I'm absolutely ready for next year's Paris Olympic Games. Wish him very well. So here, final heat, men's 100 metres breaststroke. James Wilby is the Commonwealth champion. He is in lane 4. He's the class of this field. He hasn't had the best start, though. Certainly down here in lane number 1, Samuel Neld of the University of Birmingham, by far the best start.
Yeah, we don't often see James Wilby right up there at the beginning ahead of those swimmers, but he gets up so fast and into the stroke that it's not too much of an issue for him. As we see already there, he's come from having maybe a slightly weaker start to being ahead of the field there, turning in 28.4. So round about the same time we saw Greg Butler in the heat before. But looking really good. Slightly higher stroke rate. You can see him building now into the walls, picking it up a little bit by a little bit, but just blowing enough cobwebs away for tonight.
Well, he looks like he's not trying quite as hard as Greg Butler did in that previous heat. Let's see how close he goes out to 60 seconds. He's going to be just outside, I think, 60.39, so it's going to be a very tight first 3 spots into the final of that men's 100 metres breaststroke. 60 flat, pretty much fastest in, and then you've got a 60.3, a 60.5. Solid swim from Wilby, but his best at 58 points is very quick indeed. He looks like he's just gone for a walk in the park, Amy.
Yeah, it looked nice and controlled from James there. We know he's a really good 200 swimmer as well, so he's got a really good engine on him. So 60.39 there this morning doesn't look like it cost him too much, which is really good to see ahead of tonight.
Well, it certainly is. So Wilby will be in one of the centre lanes for the final of the men's 100 metres breaststroke tonight. I'm really looking forward to that. What a swim it was to win Commonwealth gold. One of the biggest smiles on a swimmer's face I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he swam really, really well. Really, really well at the Commonwealth Games. So it's good to see him in the 100 having so much success. He's won world medals he's won bronze medals, sorry, at the Worlds in the 100. So to see him come away with the gold in the 100 breaststroke last year was probably the cherry on the cake for James Wilby.
So we have a swim off, Amy, for the A final of the women's 50 metres breaststroke. In lane number 4, Jana Spinner of Bath University. And in lane number 5, it's Amelia Riggett of Mount Kelly. Riggett in the white hat. Closer to us is Spinner of Bath University. Riggett swam really well to get into position to be into this swim off for the A final.
Yeah, it's tough when you think you've done enough in the heat and you've swum really well, but you still have to come back and do it again. So both of these girls will be looking really to be in that A final tonight. So we'll just have to see who's got that little bit left.
So a swim off for the A final, the 8th place in the final of the women's 50 metres breaststroke. Closer to us is Jana Spinner of Bath. And in lane number 5, Amelia Riggett, not had quite as fast a start, but she is coming back well now in this second 25 metres of this 50 metres breaststroke. Spinner closest to us. Well, coming back very well is Riggett inside this last 10. Is she going to do the touch? This is going to be very tight indeed. She's really driving. It's going to be close. Oh, I say, right on the touch. 32.08, Spinner wins it from 32.42, Riggett of Mount Kelly. So that puts Jana Spinner into the A final of the women's 50 metres breaststroke.
Yeah, really good swim from there. probably didn't want to have to do that swim-off, but to have the opportunity to be in that A final versus being fastest seed in the B final, it is always, for me, the better place to be. You want to be in with those top 8, be the most competitive, rather than be in the fastest position in the heat before. So, yeah, I would have definitely also wanting to be in that A final and be in one of those outside lanes, because then you're with the best swimmers that we have in Britain. So we didn't just give you one swim off, you've got 2 swim offs this morning. We've got the men's 50 metres backstroke. We've got Jack Knight from the City of Cardiff in lane 4 and Lewis Maxwell from Bath University in lane 5.
So Maxwell is in the black suit, and Jack Knight, closer to us, is from City of Cardiff. The winner goes into the Priority Paris final, one of 4 finals this evening. British swimming put on 4 finals in the Priority Paris final, allowing another 8 swimmers to have a final this evening. Great idea. So 50 metres backstroke and a slightly slower reaction to the gun in lane number 4. That was Jack Knight of City of Cardiff, but he's come up well. And down this first 25 metres or so, well, it's very tight indeed. Really quick turnover in lane number 5 is Lewis Maxwell of Bath University. And that turnover, if you can hold on, well, it's looking very close indeed. Oh, my goodness, thank goodness for electronic timing. Look at these 2 guys. They tied in the heats to the 1/100th. Oh, my goodness me. 2 100 split them there. Jack Knight gets the touch from City of Cardiff from Lewis Maxwell of Bath University. 2 100ths of a second split them.
Yeah, super close. At least we know they were both trying in the first one, because quite often swimmers come into a swim off, take off a big chunk of time, but both of those boys there just 0.02 splitting it. Very, very close indeed. So brilliant swimming, and so unlucky, I guess, to be the wrong side of the winner of the swim off, but you've had another opportunity. So yes, you've maybe not made it back to this evening, but you've had a chance to have another swim, and Lewis Maxwell there, another brilliant time, 26.47.
So that will put him into the final this evening in the Priority Paris final. And Jack Knight just getting the touch. So they swam 2 50 metres backstrokes, and the combined difference between the 2 was 2 100ths over 2 50 metres. Well, that's the end of this morning's heats. Fantastic set of heats this morning. Almost every single one of those heats won a new lifetime best. Did you enjoy it, Amy?
Yeah, really good start to the British Swimming Championships here in 2023. Lots of action tonight, lots of opportunity for those swimmers. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Come back and join us at 6 p.m. this evening for the first set of finals on the first night of the British National Championships.